Hello everyone, welcome back to another Town to City video. Today we are in the beautiful Fontbrock, and we are going to be building the ultimate farmer residence. We are going to be building some farms, some nice little townhouses, and we will not be stopping until we build the coziest village we could possibly build. If you guys are enjoying these Town to City videos, let's get this one to 500 likes to unlock the next one. And if you guys also wouldn't mind, we are so close to 40,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your support. And without further ado, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's get right into the video. Hello everyone, welcome to another Town to City video, and welcome to the beautiful Fontbrock. This is a farm map, and I'm definitely excited to show this one off to you guys. We have a couple little families in need of houses here, so we are going to need to get things started. Let's maybe figure out where we'd like to plot around our town and our roads. Obviously we have this giant lake kind of in the middle of the map, a beautiful little lake, and a couple little ponds as well, so we could also build around this. We are tasked to build a farmhouse, assign a family to the farmhouse. So obviously that is step number one. It looked like we have our townsfolk residence and we have our farmer residence. So I think probably farmer residence is what we're going to want to go with. I think I might go with like a size 5 path, and just to get things kind of started, I think it makes sense to maybe have a nice straight path right off of here. Kind of just going through here, and then I might even want to lead it down to maybe around here. What I'm kind of thinking is where this giant rock and tree are is where I'd kind of like to build a nice little town square and have some shops, some nice little farmers market stuff going on here. I think that would be quite nice. So let's just take this and maybe just get it going just to this main area. And as far as where our farmer's house could go, I mean, they could really go anywhere. I think to start off, I could probably just have it kind of in the middle, and then this could be the main farmer's house. So I think I could probably have a nice little, actually I might go back a little bit here. Let's go with maybe a size 4. And I guess we kind of need to decide what kind of roads we want. So we have our dirt path, our sand path, brick, and plaza. I think for our main paths, it makes sense. Like, we want to build a city here eventually, or kind of a old townsfolk small town is kind of what we're going for. So we're going to need some real paths. But I think for our kind of farmer's paths, I could go a little bit smaller, maybe like a size 3, and maybe just get going right off of here. And then kind of just get going to our farmer's residence about here. And then I'd like to maybe take, actually let's go back a little bit more here. Let's go a little bit closer here. And then I can kind of just have it right on the edge here. It'd be kind of nice if you could like integrate it into this path, but I don't think you can. Let's just get our farmer's residence right on the end here. And I'd like to build this maybe right on the corner, just like that. And I could continue with my little dirt path and just have this go all the way around to create a nice little area. And then I think what I'd like to do is right in the middle there, I could leave a little bit of room just for a nice big tree. And I can maybe cycle through these. I think that one looks pretty good. I don't want to hide our farmer's residence, but I think that should be good. Let's assign Picard family there, so you have housed your first farmer residence. This family will take care of their land and can't be employed anywhere else, so they will just be able to take care of our farmland. So let's meet these people. Who do we have here? Does it say who they are? We have I don't even know how to say that. Jean Charles Picard. That sounds like a Star Trek name. Leon Picard and Heloise Picard. So that is our little farmer's family. We also have one more little family here. So farmers have settled in. Let's research the first crop and crop powered building. Open the research tab. Okay, so now we want to go to our farms. We already did our city in the last video. If you guys missed that video, I will leave a link in the description. I definitely urge you guys to check it out. I had a lot of fun with that. So it looks like the first thing that we have available to us is our grape crop. So let's get that. And then we also can research our winery So that's quite exciting. We're entering the darker times of the day, called nighttime. Let's plant the first crops. Click on the farm and open the farm tab. Okay, so looks like we have a couple new things here. This menu allows you to access your crop bushes and an overview of the farmhouse. Okay, that's exciting. So it looks like we can kind of just put these in right away here. I think what I might do, we need a little bit of light as soon as you enter the town. So I might go with like these kind of cool little street lights. I'll just put on either side of here. And I'll just flip this going that way. I think that looks pretty good. I might actually move this over just a tiny bit, just so it's perfectly across from that. And maybe over just a tiny bit as well. Okay, that is perfect. Now it is not perfect. I want it to be absolutely perfect. There we go. Okay, we can paint in some little farmer's crops here. And I guess what we could do, before we get into that, I'd like to maybe get a little fence. And like a nice little wooden fence might be kind of cool. So I'm just going to take, we have this little path here, and I'm just going to maybe come off of here. I guess we could maybe use this one. Maybe just like this, and then I'm just going to have this kind of round off to about there. Maybe a little bit closer. I think that looks pretty good. And then maybe even coming off of here, I could add another little node. Let's make this nice and straight. Going just to about like there. I like that. And then what I'd like to do is just decorate this a tiny bit. Doesn't need to be anything crazy, but I think maybe just like a nice large tree and maybe cycle through them. I like this one. I definitely like that. And maybe like a couple little flower bushes in here, just to decorate it a little bit more. And then maybe some just flowers to kind of spruce it up a little bit. Now that we kind of have this fence along here, I can continue this on. I don't exactly know how big I need this to make, or to make this kind of fence. But I think I'd like to imagine a nice little garden gate kind of going through here, and then have the fence kind of go off of that. And maybe same for over here. I think that would be pretty cool. Okay, let's get our fence. And I'll probably just take this. Let's maybe get going this way first. So I don't know if I can come off of here. No, it doesn't look like I can. So let's just go right off of here. Actually, maybe even off of this part. And we got our angry farmer coming in. Let's just get a nice little fence kind of going that way. And then we can take another one right off of here. And I think what I might want to do is I could probably just keep this going straight and then to the house, or on a 45-degree angle. I kind of like that actually. Maybe just going like right to there. And then I can kind of keep everything separated a little bit here. Now off of here, I can kind of do the same thing. I'll just get this going right to the house. And then I could maybe have like a little garden going around the house. I think that might be kind of nice. Beautiful little house that we have here. Some birds flying off of it. I think that looks quite nice. And let's continue to prepare our little farm here. So let's just get going right off of here. Just like that. And then I might get this going maybe just like to there. And I don't want it too big. Like I said, I'd like to maybe have this to be a nice little town square. So I'm just gonna kind of create a fence, maybe going up this way. Actually, let's maybe back up a little bit here. Let's just go like this and then add one like this, kind of going this way. And I could maybe get it going a little bit further out because I don't know how big I'm going to need this to be. But I think if I could kind of make a nice circle with our fence and then maybe get going all the way to there. And that can kind of be where our little vineyards are going to be. Now we need to decide where we need to put all this. So let's go to our farm and let's start painting in some of this stuff. So obviously I'm probably going to want a couple little paths going through here first. So let's keep our dirt path here and I'll probably just get going like right like this through here, and then I'll need a path kind of going into our vineyard so they have a place to actually walk. And I'll probably just get this going right behind the house. Just like that. Go a little bit wider just to kind of keep it even with this. Let's fix a couple spots here. And then I could kind of keep this going all the way around our house. Like this, and maybe back to our main path there. In here, I could get maybe a nice little flower garden. I think I'm going to go down to a 1. And now I can kind of get some smaller little paths going out. Maybe where they'll have some nice little paths in their vineyard to collect. Like when you're picking raspberries in grandma's yard, you want a couple little paths. You don't want to be diving into the bush, because that does not end well. Maybe it does for some people, not me. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now we can probably draw in our little farm here. So let's go back to our farm. I guess we'll just adjust our size here. And we could go by a circle, we could do a square. I guess let's maybe go circle. And it's actually not even letting us go by the path, so that's perfect. So we can kind of just paint this in exactly where our roads are not. So that's perfect. And I could probably have them here. The crops are planted, but they still need to be processed so that you can use them for commerce, okay? So we need to process them, obviously. So let's get a couple more in here. And then we can continue to build our beautiful little farming town. I don't know if I want this to be a big city or more just like a cozy little farm village. I don't know. I'm gonna leave this open for maybe a tree. Let's maybe put a tree down. Let's read this. You need a granary connected to the farm, so the family can store their crops and transport them through the city. We will need a granary. Let's maybe get a nice tree in here. And maybe cycle through. Let's get maybe a tree right in front of here. I think that would look pretty good. Like I said, I wanted a nice little garden here, so let's maybe get a nice big tree. Our workers would like to work in the shade if they can. I mean, they're not too picky, but they are too picky. Don't tell them that. Let's just get some nice flowers throughout here. Actually, let's just click randomize here. So let's click randomize, go back out, and now it'll just kind of make whatever color that we want. Let's maybe put some red over here. See if we can spread out these colors. Put some nice different little variety of flowers in here. Okay, I like that. Nice little flower garden in here. And then if I can, I'd like to maybe put some flower bushes. So just in a couple of these spots, I'm going to delete some and see if I can get a nice flower bush in here, just to kind of get a little bit more variety. Maybe one right there. Okay, that is looking very nice. And then in here, I'll probably get a couple more. Maybe a nice little... Oh, come on, you gotta let me put it there. Okay, I guess it's not gonna let us get too close to there. Quite unfortunate. Maybe I could put a couple of lights in here for them? Maybe some lanterns, actually. Maybe a lantern right next to that window. Maybe one up here. Just to have a little bit of light for those late night workers. Kind of just like that. And then at the front door, I wonder if I could get one. Maybe right there. I like that. Kind of illuminating our house. It's already looking quite nice. I don't think we need to have any lanterns in the garden itself. Yeah, I'm definitely liking the way this is turning out. I might decorate in front here a little bit as well. So let's get some potted flowers maybe in front of the house. If we can. Maybe just like one there. And I'd like to maybe have a light somewhere. If I could have a light maybe right at the end of our driveway there. And maybe one right there as well. I think that's looking quite nice. And then in here, I'll probably add one light. And maybe one on the other side. I don't know if I can necessarily get it in there nice, but yeah, let's maybe do that just so we illuminate this as best as we can. And then over here, I will just get one as well. I think those are fairly evenly placed. So let's maybe move this over a tiny bit more. A little bit more as well. And then this one I will actually twist and see if we can put that in a good spot. Okay, that's a lot better. That's looking good. We got a nice illuminated house. We need to build a granary. So let's maybe get that next. We have our winery, and I guess we will need our granary. So this needs to be somewhere near this, kind of like Manor Lords here now. I guess I could probably have my granary maybe kind of back here. I don't know if this is going to be accessed by our entire town, but I think I'd maybe like to put this maybe back here if I can. So let's maybe see if we can delete a couple of these trees and fit this in here. So it looks like we can. So I wouldn't mind having this maybe right there. I really like that location. And then I kind of need to open this up a little bit now. So I am just going to delete this section. And then I'll need to have a nice spot for a road here. So I'm just going to wait until it's built and then we can kind of reconfigure that. Let's wait until it's functional. And we'll probably need a couple more houses while we're at it. Okay, it looks like our granary is now done. So what I could maybe do, I wonder if I can get rid of some of these crops. And then I'm going to take a path just like this. Maybe like a size 4 maybe. And then just get going right to our granary. Just like that. And now what I can do is move this a little bit closer. And then I can grab another fence and kind of put it in a nice little spot here. Let's see if we can find some room for this. Let's maybe get going this way. And then just right to our fence like that. And now it's still kind of fenced in. And then to keep matters light, we could probably have, I guess we probably could have planned this a little bit better, but that's looking quite nice actually. Let's pick a nice colorful one. I think maybe just classic white might look good. And let's throw this in here. Let's make sure this makes sense. I think that looks absolutely amazing. So that's kind of going to our granary. And I might actually twist this a little bit more up top, just so it's kind of perfectly placed. Just like that. Okay, I absolutely love that. And now we need a worker to work here, obviously. So let's assign a family. And in fact, we don't have any workers available because we have no houses for these people. So let's maybe figure that out. So we need to get that up and running. Let's continue on with our size 5. And I suppose, yeah, like this is our main road kind of coming through. I could probably, I think for the main part, I'd like to maybe keep dirt roads. Let's maybe go to about a size 4 or maybe even a size 3, just to really emphasize that this is our main street going through our town. And then off of here, I could probably have a path going somewhere. Let's maybe continue on a little path. And, well, actually, let's maybe go with this. Let's get our brick road, and I'm just going to paint in a nice little town square here. Kind of like this. Going all the way down to the water, if we can. Kind of like this. That is exactly how I imagined it. And then I'll just connect back up like that. Now we can fill all of this in. Just like that. I love the little sounds of building the path. I think it's quite nice. And I might even get this going all the way to our water like that. Just like that. Just so it really makes sense. Okay, I like that. And now we can kind of branch off of that. So let's go back to our dirt road. Maybe go to size 3. And then I need to kind of figure out where I want the majority of my town houses to be. I imagine I could probably take this and just get going on the outside of the fence to our main road like that. And I wonder if it would look good if I like kind of had a little intentional path like that. I think it does. And now, I don't know if I want to build anything up here. It's quite steep for a lot of our workers to be going up and down, so I don't know if I necessarily want to. But let's not close the door yet. I just want to take a nice little path, maybe just coming off of here. And then I could have some nice little houses going on either side of our path here, all the way up there. And I don't necessarily need to have houses on either side. I think I could probably have some nice little rows of houses kind of going throughout here. This is kind of where I want to start. I think it's a perfect little start. We have our townsfolk residence house. So let's get one of those set up. And I think that's a perfect little spot for that. And I might get one over here as well. Let's maybe spread them out a little bit more. Kind of just like that. And now I'll need one over here. And I think I'd like to maybe, let's turn off snap to road. And let's get this as close to here as we can and kind of have it exactly where we want it. And then over here, we could probably snap to the road. Kind of just like that. Okay, I really like that. And then I'll probably have to make my own little path in here, going to the door, just like that. We have our first little houses, so let's get some people moved in. Okay, now we have some families available. And now we have some workers available too. So let's get some people on there. And they are now feeding our farm. So as they kind of get some crops taken care of, looks like they've kind of taken some berries off of there, which is nice. We need to build a winery. That's next on our list. And the winery receives crops, generate farm points. Okay. So we need to generate some farm points. We are currently a hamlet, and it looks like we need 120 townsfolk with at least 60% happiness for the next city stage. So that's kind of what we're going for. Let's build a winery to start here. So we have this. Would it make sense to have our winery coming right off of here, next to our granary? I think it probably would. I can't imagine a better location for it. Now that you've started producing crops, it's time to use them to power commerce and generate farm points. Okay. Let's get a couple more of these people in here. We are going to need a winery. So yeah, I think it does make sense to maybe have it maybe right off of here. Kind of like that. Unfortunately, that would kind of close the door unless I put it over here, which I might do. And then I could still get a path kind of going that way. And in fact, I might get one just so it doesn't close that door forever. Just in case we want to have something go that way. Okay. I really like that. What I could do actually, do I want like some fences back here? We don't really have any back doors, but I think I could probably even take our little town square and get it going up there. We're also going to need a couple of things. So we're going to need a poultry stall, all of this good stuff for our people to start working. Let's start working with that. And we have a couple more families to move in. Open the economy menu and locate the farming over. Okay. This is where you can view information regarding your crops and crop powered buildings. This information is relevant. Okay, I believe you. It is relevant, so we can enable that. We can disable it. Let's make sure we enable it. So crops available 15, total 65. Okay, it looks like we required 50, so I think that should be good. And now we need to generate some farm points. Let's make sure our people are as happy as we can. So their needs, we definitely need food and we need some apparel for them. Home decoration, all that good stuff. So let's maybe get a poultry stall to start. And I think we could probably have our poultry stall right off of here. We have the rooster crowing. Let's get our cheese stall maybe right here. And let's spread them out just a little bit. And I'd like to maybe get a nice light. Oh, hanging clocks. This would actually be really cool. Let's have a clock. Maybe like right in the middle. I don't know. Is that cool? That's cool for some people. I could maybe have one like right on the edge here. Obviously, our people are going to need to tell what time it is. Okay. And now let's maybe get a couple more little stalls. We could get a fish stall. And it looks like, oh, we need a warehouse, don't we? Okay, maybe a small warehouse somewhere. And in fact, I could probably get some stuff up here. I'm going to remove a couple of these trees because I'd like to create a little bit more room up here if we can. I could have a warehouse here, but that is like very taxing on our workers going up and down this hill. But I think we could probably get away with it. Where do we want that? Yeah, our winery is here. Let's maybe get a couple more houses available here. What I could do, let's just go right off the back of this and just get a couple more houses available for us. Let's maybe get going right. I don't know if I can get 2 in here, could I? 2, maybe? Maybe? Oh, just barely. That's tight. I don't really like that. Let's just get 1, and I might actually move it over just so it's centered a little bit more. Kind of like that. This is definitely tight. That's not what I want particularly, but let's kind of just get going. You're here. All the way to the water. And then I could probably get a couple houses in here as well. Maybe? I think just 1 actually. Let's get 1 house there. No point in overcrowding. Well, let's get this one like right there. And then if I have to, I can move this path over. I think I might do that actually. Let's move it over just a little bit here. Kind of just like that. And then we can go in between our buildings here. And then I kind of need to keep as much room in here as I can for houses, potentially. This is going to get quite skinny eventually, so we want to be a little bit careful. I'd like to maybe do a little bit of decorating in here, just so it doesn't look so plain. So I think a large tree is in order. Get a large tree there. Could also get a large tree maybe right on the corner there as well. I think that would look pretty good. I'm kind of saving this little area for maybe a winery or some sort of building, maybe a clothing store. Might be kind of nice. Yeah, let's maybe get a clothing store like right on the edge maybe. I think that looks pretty good right there. And then obviously we will have to remove our clock or maybe put it somewhere else here. Let's maybe just put it like there for now. And then maybe a nice tree right next to that. Okay, we have our clothing store. Let's get a worker on there. And we still need to find a place for our warehouse. So I think we could probably get away with a small warehouse for now. And in fact, I could probably have my warehouse right on the corner here, or maybe over here. Let's maybe just like tuck it into the tree like that. And then I'll just get going right to there. Okay, I like that. And then maybe a nice tree for them. Let's go with a smaller tree here. Or actually a medium-sized one. Let's cycle through. Okay, now we can get a couple of workers on there. And now we have food. So people should be a lot happier now. 97% happiness and 84 on our town residents. Let's make sure this is as nice as we can get it. I like these cool little houses. I don't know if you can change the color of them though. They're all kind of white. I might have wanted to maybe change the color of those, but let's kind of roll with that for now. So we are generating some farm points, which is nice. And I do believe we have a couple houses for people to move into. So might as well get that kind of taken care of. Family added. Am I crazy? Where are those people coming from? Okay, we can get a couple more workers here. And let's kind of see what else we'd like to get. Fountain of Seasons. That is not kind of what you want for a small town. I feel like we might need something else. Mayor's home, a research center. So we are currently not generating any research points, so that is on our list. And in fact, I might want to do that right now. So as far as our research center, I kind of want to get going. I mean, I don't need all dirt roads, and in fact, I don't know if I love the way this looks. Oh, that went absolutely crazy on us. Sorry about that. Let's maybe go to like a 4, and I'm actually going to continue this on as a regular path. I don't really like the way the dirt roads look. It's kind of good for our farming spots, but where we're actually building our town to be turned into a city in the future, I feel like you want these roads instead. Okay, we'll kind of just fix that and get going out this way as well. Just like that. Okay, I think that looks a lot better already. And in fact, I might actually take this and round it off a little bit more. Kind of like that. Okay, what else could we do in here? A couple more families available here. Let's add them to the town. I don't know how we're even generating farm points, but we are. So I guess that's fine. Let's maybe take a nice big size 5. And I'm not done with this. I want this to look a little bit better, and I can add a couple more little stalls, but I'm just going to figure out where I want to get right research center. So I think if I kind of went this way, I think first I'm going to get going maybe behind here, and I can maybe have some kind of building going along here. Let's kind of fix some of these spots. And in fact, I could probably even have a little path just kind of going along here. Maybe even a size 3. Just so it actually looks like a path. And maybe have it come up right next to there. Just to kind of have a nice little path going behind it, making walking a little bit easier. Okay, I like that. And let's continue on with our main path here. I'd like to maybe get a research center. I don't know. Where would be a good spot for that? I don't want all of this to be just houses, so I'll have to kind of figure something else out here. Just to kind of make it look a little bit nicer. But I think if I had maybe my research center, let's just keep going along our water here. Then I could build something along here. And I actually wouldn't mind a nice little park. Maybe kind of in the middle here. I feel like that might actually be kind of nice. Or a nice big open area. Walking your dog, anything like that of the sort. Let's maybe go to a size 3 and we can kind of just get maybe a nice big path going along through here for a nice little walking area. And then I'll probably just, what do I want to do? Maybe just create a nice little path going that way. Get a nice tree in there. And then maybe even continue this on like that. Take this and kind of do the same for that. I actually like that. I feel like I could make that work. We could probably have a little park bench in here. Let's get a couple of lights just to kind of make this a little bit nicer. Obviously, we'll need some lights for these houses. Maybe like on the edge there. And maybe one at the end of the house. Oh, we didn't do this one yet. Let's get this one taken care of. Kind of just like that. Man, it's tight in here. It is absolutely tight in there. Okay, so let's get a couple little lampposts. I actually liked these ones a little bit better for this build. I think I might do that. Some nice little street lamps overhanging like that. So I might actually delete these ones and get those these other ones if I can. I think they definitely look a little bit nicer. I don't know why I switched this up, but let's quickly just replace all of those. So let's get one right here. One maybe right here. And then in the middle, I could have one as well. And as well as over here. Okay, that looks a lot better. Now I can get a few kind of going over here as well. Maybe have one kind of facing maybe kind of the middle here for our farm. And then in here, I'll need a few of them as well. And in fact, let's actually put these. I'm going to move this a little bit. Kind of just like that. Let's continue on with these. Now I'm just going to put a couple more here. We don't need to go too crazy with them, but we'll also need just a few kind of just throughout here. I think here I might put one. And then maybe a nice little wooden bench. Do I want to face the water, or do I want to maybe I could probably have one kind of facing the town square, and then over here, I'll have one kind of facing the water. Like that. With a nice little flower plant, maybe. Or, yeah, just a little bit of flowers to kind of separate it. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And then over here, I might do the same thing. So let's just get a nice little street lamp there, and then a bush kind of facing the water. Not a bush, a bench, sorry. I don't know if I like this. I might actually get rid of that for now. Oh no. There's got to be an undo button. Okay, I accidentally deleted the wrong thing. Let's see if we can get that back. Maybe instead of that, I'm gonna put a small little well in here. I think that would be a lot cooler. I think that would be quite nice. And let's maybe take our path and see if we can kind of isolate a little bit more here. Kind of just like that. And then I might actually take this and go all the way through so I can kind of walk around. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. And now I will have to reconfigure this a little bit more. Kind of put that there. Maybe some nice flowers there. And then I think I could probably still keep my little park bench there. Oh, she was going to walk to the bench. That's my bad. Let's take this and just get a nice little light there. And then I will still keep that there. And then what I might do is maybe get, I think a bell might be kind of nice. Should we get a little bell somewhere? I could probably do a sidewalk sign here. I feel like we definitely need one of those. Maybe a sidewalk sign, maybe like right there. That's actually kind of cool. A couple of lanterns. Let's maybe get, yes, another bench. That's what I kind of wanted. Maybe kind of facing out this way. And then maybe another little lantern. Kind of facing, I don't know if I want a, let's maybe just wait. We'll figure out something. But there may be a little sunshade. It's actually kind of nice. Well, let's pick our color. Let's maybe go with like a nice blue. Yeah, I like that. I feel like this worked out even a little bit better than the big rock there. Oh, that's part of that. Okay, that's fine. Let's maybe get another stall. Let's maybe get like a fruit stall. And this could probably go. Now, in fact, I might actually move that. But I guess let's get a fish stall or fruit stall like right here. I guess it's not a horrible spot, but yeah, let's kind of go with that. We just need kind of a nice little area. And we will need a couple more houses. Let's kind of add a couple of workers to those. We're still missing a little bit there, so it looks like we can get another one there. Okay, there we go. And let's maybe fix this a little bit more. Before we do that, I could probably maybe get some houses right on the end of here. Actually might be nice. Yeah, let's do that. And in fact, let's take our lantern. Let's get a few of these throughout here first. Let's get one maybe right in the middle there. And I kind of plan to just take houses right on the end of here. So let's just do this. Just like that. And then for a little bit of variety, I'll get some lanterns on either side of the roads like that. And then I'll obviously need some over here as well. But I'm going to need some houses first and foremost. So let's get a couple more townsfolk houses here. What do I want to do with this? I guess I could just have them right off of there. I think there's a little bit of an awkward area here though. Let's maybe just take it a little bit further out. Let's maybe go there, one there, and then I can kind of just get it on either side of here. And then we'll spread them out quite evenly if we can. Kind of just like that. And then I could probably even have a couple more houses throughout here. Let's maybe go there. Kind of like that. And then we still need our research center. So I think what I might do is I'm just going to take a little path and get going around back here. So let's just go right along here. And yeah, I'm just going to go right behind these houses. And connect it right to our main entrance, just like that. Make this a little bit wider here if we can. Okay, I don't mind that. I could probably get a tree or two here. That is looking a lot better. And then I still need to find a nice little location for our... Oh gosh, let's maybe put it... I think it would be kind of cool up here, to be honest. So I guess we could do that. This is all kind of dirt path. So let's continue on our dirt path. Maybe like a size 4, and let's just go right up our hill. And then we can have some stuff on either side of there. And this could probably just be more farmland up here, if anything, but I think a research center would look quite amazing up here. So let's kind of just tuck this in the trees like that. I think that looks good. We have a granary, mayor's home we could get, our little warehouse we have, but let's kind of wait till they build that. And let's do a little bit of decorating in the meantime. We have a few more houses that we can put families into. And it looks like we can increase our labor force a little bit more. I think this might be a nice little area that we can have a little bit more, maybe like a nice little park bench or something. I love to have these little park benches anywhere I can. And maybe a nice little street lamp. Like that. I think that looks pretty good. And in fact, I wonder if I could take this all the way around. No, that's asking for too much, I think. That is asking for too much. Okay. Our research center. Let's get a road for that. Just a nice little dirt road. And I find it, let's maybe just go right off of there. Perfect. Now let's get some workers on here. So 120 per day. We might as well get as much as we can. So we got about 5 workers on there. And we can continue to get some research done. It looks like that actually increases our farm points as well. Could we add more workers to here? I'd love to get some more vineyards if I can. I don't know if that's enough. Okay, this family desires to be surrounded by trees. I'm gonna have a lot of trees in here, so let's put you there. And then you can kind of just go wherever. Let's fix this little area. So I think to start off, we'll get a couple more little lights. I guess let's maybe get some trees first of all. I could probably get some nice variety of trees in here. Maybe a nice large one right there. And maybe some smaller ones. Kinda like that. Maybe a couple of bushes as well. Some little big bushes. Kinda like that. And I think we need maybe a couple of trees. That's a nice size one, actually, like that. And then maybe in here we'll just go with like a tall one. But I don't necessarily need to have them in the middle all the time. Let's put them off to the side a little bit. But I do like the idea of having some nice little trees in here. for when you're walking along the path. Yeah, that's actually quite nice. Then in here, I could probably have a nice big tree. I like that. I definitely like that. In through here, I'm actually going to take maybe one of these and put them on all of those little spots just to kind of keep some nice symmetry. Even though we are a farming town, a little bit of symmetry never hurt anybody. And a couple of little lamps might be nice as well. Let's put one there. We have one there. Let's maybe put one facing this way. And we have pretty good coverage. I think we do. Let's maybe put one more facing this way. Okay, I like that. I could probably get a nice little picnic bench there. And maybe some nice little lampshades. I think it kind of ruins it, honestly. Our farmers don't need lampshades. Let's maybe get just a little bench like that. Maybe one there as well. Now what else could we get in here? I'd like to maybe have one of these somewhere. Maybe as you enter here. I love to put these anywhere I can because they're just so cool. Yeah, I love the look of that. And then maybe as you enter this little area, maybe have like one of these. Kind of like that. And then as you exit, we could also have one. Just like that. Okay. That is perfect. I'd like to have a little place to play, but this is more of like a just walking through the park area. Let's quickly take a look at our town. So we have a couple more families to move in here. This family wants to be, they're surrounded by some farm decorations. Okay, so it looks like we could get some, is there a farm? Okay, farm. Oh, these little small wooden benches. So this, I figured this out. You actually just hold control on your keyboard and then you can left click on them and it adds workers to them. Somebody kind of told me about that. Thank you. Far away from any neighbors. Okay, so we could probably make that dream come true. Let's maybe get you up here. Maybe on the other side of this. Maybe right here, actually. Let's put you right up there. And then I can get a nice little path for you. And we can put you in that house. I think you'll be nice and happy there. +4. It is quite far away, but it's not super far away, but I think it should be fine. Yeah, what's more farming decorations? Let's see if we can even get some more decorations. So we are going to get some research points, which will be nice. Let's see if we can add a few more workers to that. Getting about 600 per day. And I'm going to quickly just see what else we would like to have. A butcher might be nice. Apparel, I could probably have... I kind of like the way this is mapped out. It definitely looks nice. But we are kind of limited for space. Maybe throughout here I'll just put a couple of trees if we can. Let's turn off our farm decorations. And I think maybe some nice tall trees might suffice this area. I think that looks pretty good. Lots of nice big trees. I'd like to keep everything as open as we can as well. Okay, are we generating some farm points? I think we are. We're doing pretty good there. Could probably put them, yeah, that's a nice place for them. And then throughout here, I can just have another little tree like that. I think our lighting is pretty good throughout our little town. Let's maybe just get some more lights if we can. I think probably have some lights throughout here. Maybe one right on the end there as well. And then as soon as you enter, probably have one there. And then what the heck, let's maybe put one over here as well. I guess that's kind of in the way of our entrance. Let's maybe, instead of that, we'll get a nice little lantern. Maybe like that. And then I could probably put some lanterns on every house that we have. Let's maybe just do this. We could also put them right above, but I think that's too city. It's just too city. I don't even know if that's a thing, but I think it is. A couple little lanterns for these guys. Never hurt anybody. Okay, I'm liking that. Now, I guess we'll need one up here as well. Let's get a nice little lantern for you. There you go, sir. Okay, our happiness is quite amazing. We still need these guys to be somewhere. And in fact, I don't need to have these farm decorations everywhere. But I just love them so much. Like I could. Or I can maybe have like right off of here. Yeah, let's maybe do that. That's probably a good place for one. And these guys want to live by some flowers. So let's see if we can do that. We can also upgrade some houses. I think we probably could, couldn't we? Want to live by some flowers. Let's upgrade that house. And then I think I could probably -3 +4. I guess we'll put them there. Okay, let's take a big look at the rest of our town. I still don't know if I love the way this is looking so far. I feel like I need more street space in here. It just looks a little bit crammed. And I wouldn't necessarily want to live here. So what I might want to do is let's see if I can just create a little bit more space in here. I kind of love the way these little parks and kind of town squares look. So what I might do is this will get rid of a few houses. And in fact, I might have to get a couple more houses built before I continue on to do this. So let's just get like maybe one more there. And I could probably build a few more houses this way. I kind of love the look of having some like this. Let's just go like here. And then have some nice little spacing going through here. And keep it semi the same. And then let's maybe stop there because I'd probably want to continue this on. So that's at least good. I can get a couple of houses in here and then I won't just completely be kicking them out. And let's get a couple of little trees to kind of finish off this little area. I like this a lot better already. So let's kind of continue with this. And do I want some trees in like the front yard like this? I guess I maybe could. And let's maybe do something like that. Something like that. And then in here I could probably do something. I don't know what that something is. Maybe a nice little, I mean, you get off the train and you just want to sit. I guess you could come and sit. And I guess I can even go all the way over there. So honestly, let's do that. Let's just create a nice, and as many little areas as you can build to kind of just chill out. I absolutely love in this game. Let's get a little tree. And when I say a little tree, I think a little tree might be nice. Kind of just a tiny little one there. And then as far as lighting, I will probably need some sort of light in the middle here. So let's just go maybe in the corner even, or maybe like, no, let's just maybe have one like that. And then yeah, you come off the train, you're tired and you're standing here doing absolutely nothing. Let's just create a little bit of places to sit for these people. And then we can get one right in the middle there. I like that. I think that looks pretty good. And then if we could even get some of these in between, I mean, that would have been pretty ideal. And in fact, I might actually do that. Let's just place these for now, and then we can alter them in a little bit here. Let's move these over so I can actually get them in between our seating areas here. And then we can move this over just a little bit more. Kind of like that. I think that looks a little bit better. Got some nice flowers just to keep the bees around, keep stinging our people. I think that should be good. I'm looking, like, honestly, as many little places like this as you can is what I'm hoping to have. And I might actually can create a little bit more space in here. Like, this is a lot of dead space. Maybe move this back a little bit. I'd like to just create a little bit more space in between here if I can. Maybe even throughout here, like this little area, I could probably open up a little bit more. And I'll keep that spot. But just like a little bit more like that. I think that goes a long way into just creating a little bit more of a welcoming area to walk around. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And then maybe in here I could probably open this up a little bit more as well. Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Now, whether I want to get a couple more little park benches in here, that is up for discussion. I could probably get one there. And maybe in a couple more little locations. Maybe one kind of in here. And maybe right on the edge, like that. And this game is all about decorations, so the more of these little things you can have, the better. I think that's looking quite nice. I could probably, I don't want to overdo it actually, let's keep that. And then we could probably get some signs, maybe a couple more little park benches in here. Oh, I love the music that's playing right now. Let's get a couple more families situated. These people would like to live next to some light. So I don't know where that is. I guess it could be any one of these. I'm going to add some lights throughout here. I will definitely need some lighting. Let's maybe get one right on the end of there. And then I don't know where else we could get. We could probably get some on each end of these little trees here. Just for a little bit of lighting. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then I could probably even get... Is that enough lighting? I guess we'll see at the nighttime, but I think for me it would be. I don't want to just be blinded. And now that circles us back to this little area. I am going to get rid of a couple of these houses to create a little bit more room for activities. I don't know. Just kind of move this over. Let's actually move this over a little bit. And then that will immediately help with that problem. And I guess we can delete that. And this looks absolutely ridiculous anyway, so let's just do that. And then here's what I might actually do. I'm going to move this over. Oh, I'm actually loving this a lot more already. Let's just put that right on the end of there. And then I can get a little bit more of a little nook here. Just a tiny little nook for reading, looking at the nice little lake here. I think it's kind of what we're going for. Let's get another little light here. I think I'll probably face it this way, and I could probably keep these semi-symmetrical if possible. Let's maybe put it about there. And then a nice little park bench looking out to the water, I think would look quite nice. And in fact, I might actually bring this back a little bit further. Kind of just to about there. And then finish it off with a nice big tree. I think would kind of tie that all together. And then in here I could probably get a little tree maybe. I think that looks a lot more cozy. And I'm not done with this. I'd like to get something else in here if I can. Like whether that's another bench or some flowers. I think we definitely need some sort of flowers kind of in the corner here maybe. And maybe some like there as well. Just kind of make it a little bit better. And, oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna put here. Again, I don't want to overdo it with these, but the more opportunities I have to put these, the better. I absolutely love that. Let's put one of those, and that is immediately a lot better. And in fact, I might even do a little flower bush. Maybe right there. Switch the color. Kind of like that. And that is done. I think that looks a lot better now. I am so glad I did this. So like I said, I could probably create a little bit more space in here. Like I could kind of maybe just do a little bit more. Yeah, kind of like this. Just to kind of keep something else kind of going in here. I don't want it all to look the exact same. Like I could probably even open up a little spot here. Maybe a size 3. Just for a nice big tree in the middle. Just like that. I think that immediately makes that better. Let's add a few families here. And maybe get some of these people into houses. This guy wants to live by water. Let's make his wildest dreams come true. And we're gonna need some, I guess I can maybe upgrade this house and that one. We need to keep an eye on our research points here. So we can now do corn, we can do wheat. Oh gosh, we're gonna need quite a bit more farm space. We could get a bakery, hay decorations. Might as well get all of that. I did not plan for this, I'm not gonna be honest. Let's put these guys maybe here. We don't really have any more farm decorations, do we? Okay, we need to get some more area for a farm. I'm kind of thinking over here, if I can. And in fact, it might have been nice to have a nice little path kind of going through here. Which I still could do. Let's maybe figure out where I want to get my next little farmer's residence. I think maybe like right next to the tree here. Might be kind of nice, or maybe on the other side. Not everything needs to be facing the water, but I mean, who wouldn't want a nice little waterfront property? Let's face the water kind of like that. And this can be our next little farmer's residence. I also need to continue on with more city building, if possible. Let's put a couple more people in here. We need some good light for these guys as well. 18% there. Okay, I like that. We are gonna need to assign a family here. Looks like they're quite far away from food and apparel. How are the rest of these families doing? So I think they're quite happy. Now that I'm thinking about this, I maybe should have got a large warehouse. I could probably add a few more workers, but the more things we add, then we can kind of take care of that. I am going to quickly demolish this stuff because I don't like that. For whatever reason. I can't really explain it. I just don't like it. We have a bakery here, vegetable stalls. Let's maybe get a nice little vegetable stall in here. I think that looks a lot better. We have this little area, which is nice. Let's maybe just put that. Maybe just like that. I think they could still squeak by there. They can squeak. Okay, I like that. Let's add a couple of workers there. Now, I don't know if that increases our supply. This one wants to live by some trees. Got about 10% there. Do we have a decent amount of money? I think we could upgrade a few more of these. So let's just let's start upgrading some of these. Yeah, 20%, that is perfect. And now we can start filling up some of these houses. I think what I might want to do, I'm going to finish off this little area. And in fact, I might have to kind of twist this semi like that. And I have a plan for this, don't you worry. I might demolish maybe this house and then have maybe a path coming along to here and then maybe some more stuff kind of going along there. I think might look nice. Yeah, let's maybe demolish this house and then maybe these trees. It's kind of going to ruin a little bit of things for the time being. I might see if I could, I don't know, let's see here. Let's get maybe a size 5. And I think for the most part, I'd like to maybe get going maybe just towards the water and then maybe around it. I think, I don't know, might be the best course of action. So let's do that. Let's just kind of get going to the water. And this, I want to leave a little bit of grass between the water and our path. And then I think through here, I could probably have a nice little path going behind our houses here. With another little nook. I want to create as many of those as we can. Hashtag nook in the comments. That's going to be the word of the day. And then I'll leave a little room for a tree there. Might be kind of nice. And then over here, I'll kind of just do the same. Kind of like that. And then over here, I might actually do a nice big little cul-de-sac there maybe. Just to kind of create a little bit more room for a house. Kind of round it off like that. I think that looks a little bit better. And then we can get some houses there. I think I kind of want to do the same thing with this. As soon as you enter the water, you can have like a nice big little area here. I don't know. Actually, I kind of hate that. I'm not going to lie. Let's get rid of that. And then I can quickly fix that. Kind of just there. And then, yeah, like I said, I can get a little path kind of going along here. And then this, I kind of want to create a little bit more room for all of our crops in here if I can. We're going to need to figure something out with this, but I think a dirt path is in order. Let's go to maybe a size 3. And then we can kind of just create a little path. Kind of just going this way back to our main path there. I think is kind of what I want. And then we can have somebody move in here. So far away from any neighbors, this is the perfect house for you. And I can get one more little house there. Let's maybe set up, let's just quickly finish this little nook before we get carried away. And then I could probably even put, I don't know. Ooh, can you upgrade farmhouses? No, I don't think you can. We can do a few more. We have a little bit more money to spend. Let's maybe do these little lakefront properties. Our rich farmers. The city folk that moves to the country and thinks they can just build the biggest house they possibly can. That's who's going to go there. Okay, now we can research a couple more things. But before we get to that point, we actually need to get to tier 2. So we're going to need quite a bit more townsfolk before we get to that. So let's see if we can reach that as quickly as possible. Just so we're not wasting any unnecessary time. And actually, before I do anything, I see a little opportunity for a nice little bench here. We got our hay roof, hay cart, little scarecrow, so we can probably put those somewhere. Well, let's just get a nice little bench under the tree there, and maybe on the other side here. Kind of like that. And then maybe a nice little light there, maybe. I don't know. kind of do the same thing like that. Yeah, that's quite nice. And then I could probably get a couple more trees in here. I really need to focus on getting our farm situated first. So let's get a couple more. Let's maybe do +2 there. Just want to get a couple of these residents in. We need to fill up to get to our town or whatever size it's called. Let's figure a little fenced in area here. I'd like to have a little area designated just for this little farmhouse. They work hard, so they would like to have a little area for maybe fishing or something like that. So let's just create a nice little area for them, just for them. And I could get a nice little tree in here. And then I could continue on our farm, maybe going right up to the fence. And let's maybe get just a nice little area here. And make a little spot for a tree. Love my trees. So let's get maybe one right in front there. And I could get maybe this one there. And then a nice big tree like that. And now we can kind of start figuring some stuff out. So let's get our fence situated. And in fact, I might actually decorate this a little bit. We would definitely need a scarecrow somewhere. Let's get a scarecrow maybe right there or something. I don't know. Obviously our wheat, like our little wheat parts here, our hay cart, won't go in the vineyard. So definitely need to scare away some of those. But let's get our fence kind of situated in here. And in fact, I'd love to maybe have a nice little area for where this kind of comes in. And let's just paint in this a little bit more. Actually kind of nice that you can just do like a 1 pixel thing. Absolutely love that. Okay, let's get a fence in here. This I could probably do a different little fence. Over here we had this sort of fence just because I was matching the one from the train station. So I think over here I'd like to maybe have, I think right off of here I could probably go like this and maybe angle it this way. Kind of like that to start. I don't need it too crazy. That's definitely a nice little farm fence. And then over here, I will just get a nice little... In fact, I might need to figure out where this is going to go. Let's maybe just bring this out a little bit more. Is that the right size? I think it is. Yeah, just a little bit more. And then I can kind of get my fence in a nice little spot here. So let's just go like this. And then maybe I can start going kind of around this little curvature. Might actually be kind of nice. Kind of like this. And then this I could probably have a nice big farm. This is going to be kind of our main farm. And I actually wouldn't mind having the possibilities of having like maybe wheat and corn over here. Might be kind of nice. I think over here, let's just get going. Nice big farm property. And then maybe angle in like this. And then I'd still like somebody to be able to live on this side, but I think, I don't know, we could even end it like here. Maybe just going right to the fence like that. And this could kind of be wheat and corn, and then I could probably even have maybe a couple lucky families living over here. Or maybe another little farm plot. But I think what I'd like to do, can I get that a little bit closer? No, it looks like I can't. I could probably do the same kind of thing that I had for my other plot. I'll probably have some nice little farming sections going through here. Make it look like some sun rays branching out for our farm. And then this I could probably have going around back. All the way over here. And maybe just like that. Just going like to there maybe. And then I'll just branch out one more little section here. Kind of like that. I think that looks a little bit better. Let's click on our farmhouse and we now have corn available to us. We have corn, we have wheat. I think what I might want to do is let's get some wheat over here. I don't know if I want any wheat in here though. That's kind of the question. So let's just paint in some here. On this side of the fence. We can start getting some wheat. And then we'll also need a granary over here. Let's kind of paint all of this in. I don't know how much that costs. Actually, not a whole lot. Farmland, okay, you can kind of see here. Okay, that's our farmland in square meters. Is that wherever I put the fence? Interesting. I think it just automatically does that. Actually quite cool. Let's put our wheat kind of in through here. And you know what I could do actually? I don't have to have wheat only in this section. In fact, I think we just maxed out all of this. Shoot. I guess that's all we can really put. Which is interesting. I wonder if we can... We can't get like corn in here. That sucks. Current farm surface or surface containing crops and maximum capacity. So I feel like there's going to be some sort of research thing where we can upgrade that. I don't know if that's true, but I don't know. It might be a thing. Let's get a couple more people throughout here. I definitely like this little farm. I think I'm going to continue this on. Kind of like this. And then I could probably even have it kind of go like this. Might be kind of nice. With, okay, I'm going to get crazy. I'm going to get absolutely crazy. So let's get maybe, I mean, we're in the process of making this look as nice as we can. Let's get a nice little thing like that. And then I think over here, I'll probably just have, I don't want another one of these. Let's get one of these little flower ones. Or maybe a big one. Maybe a small one. We don't want to draw too much attention to ourselves here. Let's maybe just get right there. And then instead of having a fence in here, I'm going to use a little hedge going to there. I think that'll look a little bit nicer. And then I can just get going right to there. Yeah, that's perfect. And then I'll just continue this along. I suppose I should probably have another little entrance for this rather than just having the one. Because this, I'll probably put like a nice little picnic bench in here and make it look quite nice. Maybe like a little hay cart or a, I don't know. Could probably do something. Where the heck is that little flower thing? Let's maybe switch up the color. Let's do something like that. I think that looks quite nice. Go back to our hedge and start painting this in. Here comes Farmer, I was going to say Farmer Joe, but that's his wife. Actually, I want to make this a little bit nicer. Let's just come right off of there. Kind of like that. That looks a little bit better. And then to finish it off, we'll just get going right off of here. Just like that. Oh, I absolutely love that. That is so cool. I think in here, I think a big tree is in order again. Maybe not that big. Maybe a nice pine tree. Maybe a nice big pine tree. I want to be able to see all this though. Let's maybe go with like Maybe just like that, actually. Just like that might be kind of nice. And then in through here, I will need a small little dirt road. Just connecting to there. And then I'll probably want, I mean, you could get married here. You could, like, this is crazy. Let's just go. I mean, they could walk on the grass. They're farmers after all. They're not afraid of a little bit of grass. So let's maybe get a nice little park bench. I could probably have a different little light. Let's get a lantern on our farmhouse somewhere. Maybe like right there for a little bit of light. Maybe there, and then maybe like that. I think that's quite nice. Yeah, hopefully we can do some crops throughout here, but let's maybe get a nice little lantern somewhere. Or actually maybe a little bit different. Let's just go with like, oh, I don't know, it's a street light. I want just like a different kind of light. Let's go, yeah, let's maybe keep the same one. And let's just put this like, kind of just like there maybe. And then I could probably have a little bench kind of going there. Actually, I don't really like these benches. Let's go with a bigger one. A little bit bigger of a bigger one here. Kind of just like that. And then maybe a little flower bush on the other side there. And maybe a little bit of flowers in here. Some nice flower variety. Kind of like that. I think that looks quite nice. And then maybe another little flower bush over here. Okay, that's already a lot better. I do think we need a little dirt path coming here though. Maybe just like a size 2. And I'll just get going like right to there. Kind of just like that. I think that's a little bit better. Got a nice little lamp. I think that should be quite nice. I could probably put something along here, but I actually like that. Let's just keep that kind of the way it is. Unless there's some sort of little decoration we can put in here. Let's maybe put one of those there. And maybe a small bush along here. I think that looks quite nice. A little bit of flowers maybe. A little bit of flowers just like that. Okay, that's looking a lot better. We are gonna need a granary over here. So if we could get, we don't need a winery. We do need a bakery though. Requires corn and wheat. Okay, so I don't know if we need both, but I guess this would be a good little spot to have this, wouldn't it? Kind of the rest of this, and then yeah, I think that probably makes a lot of sense. Let's just have our bakery maybe kind of back in here. And then I could have a little path kind of coming across through here. Maybe like a size 4 going across. Just kind of like this. Into this little area, and then maybe just going up to our fence there. Could have a little bakery. And I could probably round that off a little bit. Have something in the middle. I guess we'll kind of decide what that is. Let's get a couple of workers there. Requirements. So we need wheat. Granary can't or transport to this building. I think, okay. Let's see if this will fix that. And it does. That is quite a long distance. So I might actually get another granary. I don't know. We'll kind of decide unless, I don't know. We'll see. They are able to produce some wheat though. Yeah, we have wheat. So now they're kind of doing something. So they're going to make some stuff. And then I think we could probably get our bakery, fruit stall, all of that good stuff. No crops are being sent to this building. So let's maybe see if we can get... Oh, come on. You got to let me put corn in here. Where could we get some corn? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to split this up a little bit. We could maybe put something in there in the future, but I think if we could have a little bit of corn over here, that would be nice. So I think right in the middle, we'll just get some corn. Just like that, just have a little bit of variety. And I think that might get us there. So it looks like we have. This building is not receiving any crops. Click to enable. There we go. So now we are getting crops, which is lovely. What do I want to do in here? We got a couple other people to kind of move in here. I still don't know what I want to do with this. I could probably put a couple more houses. Oh gosh, please randomize this. I might have to switch all of these houses. We're all the exact same color. Well, no point in stopping now, so let's keep that. So let's just go maybe right off of there. And maybe just like that, so I could put a tree behind there. And then maybe just create a little bit of space like that. Maybe get a house there. And then I could probably even get some houses around here. So let's maybe get one right there. Maybe right there and right there is kind of perfect, actually. I like that quite a lot. And let's maybe get some street lamps. We have some through here. We have some through here. I don't have any over here. So let's maybe get a couple. Maybe a tree somewhere. I don't know what I want to do in here. I could probably, you know what? I feel like either way, we're gonna need to expand. So this is a perfect spot for this. We have our warehouse, kind of over there. Let's get another little warehouse in here. And in fact, I could probably even put it like kind of up here. Or is that too far? Actually, let's kind of switch it up a little bit. Let's keep this and maybe increase our brush size to about a 5, maybe actually 4. Let's keep a 4, and then I'm just going to take a little path kind of going up here. And then maybe kind of something like that. Just create a little bit more space in here for them to turn the corners. And then we can get a little warehouse right on the corner like that. I think that's perfect. And then in this little area, I can get another little square of fruit stalls, stuff like that. What could I put? I don't want to have it right in the middle. I could probably have it just a little bit off to the side. Maybe a little bit. And maybe get a big pine tree or some other little decoration could be in order. What else could we put there rather than the same old thing? Maybe like a stone. No, that's not big enough. That's actually quite cool. Let's get one of those. And in fact, I might just kind of do that. Is that too big? I think, yeah, we could definitely put that right there. That is quite cool. And then in here, I could open this up a little bit more. Kind of just like that. And maybe leave a little bit of room. Just so they can kind of walk around their house. Okay, that's better. Before I forget, I want to get a couple more little trees. These are kind of our residential trees. Let's get some of these put in through here. Kind of like that. And then over here, I could maybe have another tree, kind of like that. Something like that, maybe. And then I think another little lamp would look good there. Let's put a few more in through here. Maybe one there, one there, and then one right here. Actually, maybe a nice little area for that. Let's get rid of that. What else could we put in here? This would actually be a good little spot for a little tree, maybe. Maybe a medium-sized one. I think that's quite nice. Little tree just like that. And maybe to get even crazier, a couple little things like that. A little bit of flowers just to spruce it up. Kind of like that. Let me know in the comments if you guys have played this game. I mean, I'm having an absolute blast with it so far. And I don't see that changing anytime soon unless I can't get my flowers here. Go on. Might have to abandon ship there. And let's maybe get... And in fact, I could probably widen this a little bit more there, just to create a little bit more room. There we go. And now we can get some different little flowers in there. Okay, that's a lot better. The crow has crowed, and people are available to live in places. So let's get some tree or the place people there. Can't talk sometimes. And let's maybe finish this little area first. I think a nice big tree would look good there. In fact, let's maybe move it over a little bit. Right there. Let's maybe do a nice little street lamp there. And then I think what we could do is just fill this in a little bit more. Just to get as much room in there as we can. And then a nice little bench as well. Maybe just facing... In fact, I could probably even put one like... Maybe just like that. Maybe a little bit further back. A little bench there. And then as you enter, I could probably put one. Yeah, I like that quite a bit. And then what else could we do? I mean, I do love my little arches. So I could probably have one of these for as you enter in. And then maybe move this over just a touch so it's not too crowded. Okay, that's perfect. And I suppose I could get another little light. And in fact, over here I might get one of these instead. Just so it's not overhanging them too much. That's gonna get too hot on their noggins. Okay, that's looking a lot better. I could probably even enclose this a little bit more with something. Maybe just a nice little tree. In fact, let's maybe get a bigger one. Bigger one might be a little bit better in there. And let's do a different variety. Maybe just like that. I like that. Another little tree coming up. Okay, what else do we want to do? So we have some warehouse workers available here. If we got... Oh, I don't know. I might actually make this a little bit smaller. Let's get the smaller one. I like having it there, but I think it's just kind of taking up too much space. But then that's too tiny. I don't know. I don't know, man. Let's maybe go back with the big one. And I could probably put it a little bit more central. Maybe. No, I'm actually going to keep it about where it is, or where it was. Maybe just like right there. And then I'd like to keep a little bit of room for some stalls. So let's go with like a poultry stall to start. Maybe right there. And over here I could open this up a tiny bit. Kind of just like that. And then maybe get something there. I don't know if necessarily we want to, so we can put somebody there. That is a good start. And now I'll probably need another warehouse worker. I could probably put something. That's our bakery. What else are we baking? I could get like a fruit stall. I might actually get rid of these trees because I'd like to maybe get a house in here as well, just to kind of finish this off. Kind of just right there should be fine. And maybe a nice big tree there, just to kind of hide that in a little bit more. Maybe one of these and one maybe on the corner there. And then maybe here I could have a little street lamp. Okay, I like that. And then I suppose right in the middle, I could just keep it open. Maybe a little metal bench. Or one of these, actually. I don't know. I think that's weird. I don't need to do anything crazy like that. Stone basin or a little statue. I don't know. Let's just leave it. I think we're probably fine with that. We have a couple more people available here. So these people live right by the clothing store. I don't know what we're even making. Let's maybe upgrade these houses just so I can get them right there. And then these people, I mean, we are next to some farm stuff here. I guess we'll just throw them in there just to get the extra people. Let's add a couple more workers. And I do believe we still need to upgrade our town. It's kind of hard though. It's a little bit difficult. I'm loving the way this is looking though. I think it's definitely shaping up to look quite nice. I haven't quite figured out what I want to do with this little area. I'm kind of just imagining a few more little houses, maybe another little roundabout. Might be kind of nice. Okay, that's good. We have one too many worker there, so we might as well free them up. And this could continue on this way if we wanted. We are going to need some more houses. I'd also like to maybe get another little stall here if we can. I do love this, but I think it's kind of just too much. I think I'd rather maybe have the stalls. I don't know. I don't want to ruin anything. I don't want anybody yelling at me. Let's put them there. So our bakery's right there. Then we can get another worker there. I think I am going to do it, honestly. I'm sorry. I gotta do it. I know it looks good. Or I thought I looked really good. I just need the little bit extra space for a couple little stalls. So let's maybe do a fruit stall here. And in fact, if I could get two, that would be quite nice. Let's maybe get one right there. And a vegetable stall. Have your fruits and veggies ready to go. Right there. That is immediately better. I mean, aesthetically it's not, but I think it makes a lot more sense. And now we need to increase our capacity for that, and we are nice and happy now. That is what I'm talking about. Okay. We have corn, we have wheat. I guess this isn't really gonna work out, so I might have to actually fix this a little bit. So let's get rid of all of this. Maybe just right up to about there. And that's kind of just where my farm is going to end. Unfortunately. Aesthetically, I would have loved to keep this the way it was, but I might have to just delete some of these little nodes and finish off right here. Let's just take this and get going. I guess we could, no, let's keep a fence kind of just going around right to the fence, or the water, sorry. Maybe like that. I like that for sure. And then I'll kind of take my path and go next to it. Quite sad, but it is what it is, I suppose. I guess I could get a little tree just to remind me of home over here, maybe. Maybe have a smaller one, maybe like that. Just to remind us of home. And then over here I could have maybe a little flower basket, and then maybe a nice little, maybe just a regular bush. Let's go we got our regular bushes. Something just like that, and maybe a big bush next to it. Kind of like that. I think that looks pretty good. We are going to need a couple little decorations. So obviously we're going to need a scarecrow right there. I could probably put one back there as well. A couple little decorations. Oh, can I actually fill that in? Looks like I kind of can. I think it might even be better to just have our hay cart right in the middle. There we go. That's a lot better. If I can't put anything there, I think it was just a happy little accident. Look at our water here. Like, that is looking absolutely gorgeous. With our big windmill. Oh yeah, that's looking really good. Let's see if we can make this look a little bit better in here. Whether that's like, I think we need more trees in here or something, or I don't know. I could probably put another little lamp over here. And maybe a small tree. We don't have enough small trees. Kind of just like, maybe I don't want to get too crazy. Just like that, I think. Then in here, I'll probably need a few more of these guys. Kind of like that. Actually, I feel like let's add one more in there. Makes it look a little bit better. Okay, we have a couple more families to be added here. So we got lots of trees there. You can live there. And in fact, we have a decent amount of money. So let's start upgrading a few houses here. And start upgrading any old random house. Get a couple more workers. Okay, and then over here I need something to make it look a little bit nicer. Actually I could probably just draw this in a little bit bigger. Kind of just like that. And then maybe put a tree over here. Probably a little bit too big. Let's maybe get like that. And then over here, maybe just a smaller, or a small tree maybe. Kind of like that maybe. Okay. I think we have a few families to move in here. Let's maybe keep these spaces open for people that want to live along the water. 19% there. Okay, that's a lot better. We should be able to upgrade pretty soon here. I think we need one more family, if at all possible. I think it's kind of random that we have a little farm right in the middle here. Kind of funny. And we can upgrade this a little bit as well. But I think that is looking quite a bit better. Let's maybe figure out what we want to do with the rest of this little area. So I'll probably just take this along here and leave a little bit of room for like a tree or something cool in here. Or I could even take it right to the edge, but I think that's fine for now. where could we get some more residential houses? So this is a pretty big little area, which will probably have to go right along here. Kind of just imagine walking next to a big little farm. A big little farm. Let's actually back that off a little bit. Now once you get to here, you can have kind of going out this way. I like that. A couple more families to be put in places. There we go. And this is what we waited for, a house by water. So let's put you there. And now we can officially upgrade the title of our city and then get some more research points. Let's upgrade here. Let's see this. Boom. So there you go. You have your stage 2. I mean, I think that's looking a little bit too big for a little humble little farm town. But can't really complain, I guess. Yeah, absolutely love it. Got some fireworks, looking good. Awesome. So we're, oh, actually stage 3. So we have leisure unlocked and a couple more little research things unlocked to us, which is final, or finally, oh, we could have got this the entire time. So we can get that now. So now we can get roses, cotton, beeswax, utility decorate, like lots of great stuff here, which is quite nice. So we'll have to wait till research does a little bit more. And wait, did we? Oh, this is farm points, not even research points. Oh, okay. This is all research. So I guess we could we don't really have the city. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so farm points. So I guess we don't even necessarily need to have a research station then. Yeah, we're maxed out for research. Very interesting. So I guess we will just put a couple of families along here. Yeah, we need some more flowers. So let's put this family maybe here. And this seems like a nice little area that we can get some nice flowers. So let's have maybe like a nice little flower thing on the edge there. Maybe a flower bush or two. See if we can kind of cheat the system a little bit, but also make it look nice. Gotta make it look nice. And maybe like that. And then I think throughout here I could probably add a few little flowers. Kind of like so. Let's put a yellow. And then all the way around the back, I'm just going to randomize this. I can just take that all the way to there. I think that looks quite a bit better. And then just to keep it, I don't want it to just be like that for absolutely no reason. So let's take this and just kind of go like this. Maybe a little bit behind there. And then maybe, I don't want it to go all the way like that. Let's just get a nice rose bush there. And maybe one along here. Maybe two, actually. No, don't want to go too crazy. I think that's probably fine. Less is more in this situation. But I think that should be plenty of flowers for those guys. And we need a place by water again. And a place by food. So it looks like we are pretty close to some food here. Let's quickly take a look at our lighting situation. We haven't quite built over here, but I think we could probably have a little bit more lighting in some of these locations. We could also get another farm up here, potentially. I think next on my list is I would like to develop this side a little bit more. kind of going into this area. I think that would be kind of next on my list if we could. So whether that is, yeah, I kind of like this size. Actually, let's maybe go a little bit bigger. Let's just kind of go like that. I think that looks a little bit better. And then we can get some houses throughout here. Maybe some even facing the road itself. I might be eating my words here, because I don't know if I'll be able to fit the house in there. Let's kind of see. No, I don't think I can, so I might have to actually go back down to the size that we had before, which is a little bit sad because I liked that size a little bit better. But it is what it is. You gotta work with the terrain. Okay, there we go. Let's go back to a size 4. And then see if we can evenly go throughout here. Get as many houses as we can. And then we'll kind of do this slowly if we can. So I think for the most part we can somewhat... We might have to do like some kind of little square here, because we can't actually get houses there anyway. So let's just get as many as we can. Might have to move that actually. Let's go over here while we can. Or while we're waiting. Couple little houses throughout here. Kind of like that. And then let's see if we can move this one over just a little bit. And then maybe put another one here. Might have to unsnap it here. Nope, I don't think it's happening. Okay, let's just go with that. I might actually demolish this. And then I will move this over. Kind of just like that. I think that's perfect. There's a little bit of a space back here I'd like to turn into a path. If we can. Just like this, all the way along the water. And kind of just do the same thing that we just had over here. I think I like that. And then let's just create this a little bit wider in here. Okay, I like that. Let's kind of do the same thing. Let's kind of just replicate that side if we can. So let's just get one of these in here. Absolutely love this little nook. And then I think it doesn't need to look the exact same. Like, I think I'll probably just put a little light there. And maybe another one right there. And then just have maybe even like a picnic bench in here, actually. Might be kind of nice. And then maybe even a little path or a little bench there. Maybe one back here. Just to have a little bit of variety. I think that is already looking quite nice. And then obviously I will need some flowers in here. Let's maybe just turn this kind of like that, just to fill that in. And then maybe some flowers, potentially. A little bit of flowers. Just like that. A little bit of flowers throughout there. Okay, there we go. We got expert decorator. That's amazing. We've placed 1,000 decorations. I've only been playing this game for a day. That's insane. Okay, I like that. And then over here, I'll probably get a nice big tree to fill that in a little bit better. Okay, I think that is looking quite a bit nicer. I don't know if I'm sold on this picnic bench. Obviously you want to be able to have a picnic, or maybe I just need to like turn it or something. For some reason I can't put it there. Should I just put it like... maybe like that. I don't know. It's a little bit better, I guess. And then throughout here, I'll also need something. So I think I could probably have something nice. As far as a house, like I don't think I can get a house here. Can I? I could actually. And in fact, I'm going to. I am going to get a house there. Now I could also turn these to have houses like this. But I think I've kind of already done that over here, and I'd like this to be a little bit more variety, if possible. Let's get a couple more families throughout here. And I'll save these for people that want to... let's maybe upgrade a few more houses here. Maybe like these ones. There are a few more to upgrade here. This is the rich side of the neighborhood, so over here, kind of just regular things. And then these guys want to move by the flowers, so we might as well put them there. And you see how flowers affect your neighbors? It just brightens everyone's day. Remember that next time you get yelled at for having too many flowers. Let's maybe put a few of these. Let's randomize it actually. Kind of just fill that in a little bit more, like that. Okay, I like that. Quite a bit of flowers. How are we doing? So we need 180 more townsfolk, 41 more. And then we're kind of doing pretty well there. I think this kind of needs, now that I'm looking at this just needs a little place for a tree, I think. Maybe right in the middle here. Maybe just a nice medium-sized tree, just like that. Just adds a little bit, I think. And then over here, I might actually put another little picnic bench now that I'm looking at it. But maybe face it out like that, rather than towards the water. And these guys actually probably need a little bit of room for their feet, don't they? Let's kind of do that. And we have a couple more people to move in. So might as well throw them in there. And then these guys want to live by water. Might as well put you there. And it looks like we can upgrade a couple of things. Okay, this winery is almost out of... yeah, it's almost out of space here, so... put a couple more families in. That gets us a little bit closer to our goal. Definitely excited about that. I don't know what I even need research points for. I mean, we got... yeah, I don't know. Nothing really, like... let's look at our economy here. So everything's enabled. We just need to be able to research some things. So it looks like we can get some stuff now. And they're a little bit cheaper. Let's get roses. Might as well get all of this, actually. We could get a hatter. I don't know what that is. A global stockpile. A couple of different things. So we have roses, cotton, and beeswax now. And I don't know if that... let's quickly check that. Is that like what we can... okay, so roses... could I add a little bit of roses in here? Oh my gosh. I totally can. Let's maybe lower this. Let's see if we can... let's definitely put some roses in here. And then I could put some... maybe at our entrances. Oh, that's all we can do, actually. I don't know what we can even do with that, but it's fine. I'm happy with it. Actually, I might want to get rid of that. Let's quickly just get rid of those. I liked it a little bit more before. Okay. Couple more families to go into houses. And we can upgrade this. And I wouldn't mind getting a couple more little buildings here. So let's take a look at what we have. So we have a butcher. We could get that. And in fact, might put this maybe on top of the hill. Might be nice. maybe like up here. Might be a good little location for that. A couple other things. Leisure, we will need to get some of this stuff, like a puppet theater maybe. Might be kind of nice for some of these people. Let's maybe get a puppet theater like right on the edge there. A street organ we could probably have somewhere. I don't want to pack this in too tight either. And in fact, I might actually just get like a little park bench in here instead. Little park bench. And then over here I could probably get one as well. Actually, let's maybe face one like that towards our little lake here. And of course, we will need a little road going to here. I think just a size 4 should suffice. And over here, I might actually do a nice little winding road, just to have a purpose for over here. And then we can add as many workers over here as possible and increase that. And it looks like we have a couple more little places for families. Do we even? It looks like we do. We could also upgrade these. We have a decent amount of money still. What I might do actually, I'm going to get rid of all these because I don't even think we need all of the research. We'll just free up a couple more workers. Lovely. Okay. What else could we get? We could get a mayor's home. Might be quite nice, and it allows people to send requests. City hall. Oh, if I even want a city hall, I think that would kind of ruin the aesthetic a little bit. Could we use another granary? I think we maybe could. I'd also like to get, like, what do we have here? Apparel. I could also get like a shoemaker over here. Let's maybe put our optometrist's house over here. Kind of a random little spot, but we need to get our eyes fixed. Barber. We also need to have a barber. And I feel like having the barber, where would be a good spot for that? Let's add a few more people here. I think a barber over here might be kind of nice. We'll just get a couple little shops over here, potentially. Or what we could do, let's do something like this. Like that, and then I'm probably just going to take this, just create a nice little area for some stuff. I don't know what that stuff is yet, but we will figure it out. But we have our barber. Let's put about 3 workers on there. And then we can increase our capacity here. Our warehouse can send some stuff to our barber. And we have a couple of specialty places. So a single floor household. You can go there. And I guess we got to remember to keep that single floor. And we want many folk. Except we have no house available, of course. Get our optician. With many folk, hey? That is hard to do. Let's maybe just upgrade a couple of houses. Don't upgrade that one. I think, yeah, you can live there right next to the barber. And I guess we could probably even make this a little bit bigger. Kind of just like this. And then get like, I don't know, what do you even get? We could get a vegetable stall. We get a fruit stall maybe. Let's maybe just throw that in there, and a fish stall. And then I suppose I'll probably want a little bit of lighting in this area. I could probably get like one of these, but I think we'll just stick to the classics here. A little lighting, and then maybe a little park bench. Just to kind of tie it all together. And then I could probably throw in our fish stall along here. Add in a couple of workers. And honestly, this would be kind of a cool little... I gotta get something up here. Maybe have this kind of wrap around. Might be kind of nice. Let's just do something crazy with that. What size do we have here? So what I might do is maybe even take this around. And then back to here. And sort of just... Maybe let's keep these trees here if we can. Actually, I might have to delete one of them. Just to make it a little bit easier coming down the hill. Let's kind of just get a nice little path coming down here. That's actually so cool. Just to there. And then we can grab our size 1 and fill in these tiny little pixels here. Just like that. Looks a little bit better. Let's increase that, and we will actually need to increase our warehouse capacity. And eventually we'll actually probably need a large one here, potentially. I don't know if we will. But we do have another one over here that we can increase. This one wants to be surrounded by plaza stuff, so I guess you can go there. That's about as good as it gets. And then no available houses here, so could we upgrade? Oh no, might have to put some more flowers around some of these places. I feel like this would be a perfect little spot, so let's move you in here. Let's move you in here. Now let's get some nice little flowers going around here. Let's click randomize. And let's just kind of fill in the back side of all this first. Kind of like this. And then we can kind of just start getting the rest of this filled in. Just like that. A little bit of flowers. And I could get a little bit up here as well. Let's take out a couple of flowers because I'd like to maybe have a tree in here. I don't know if that's enough. Let's kind of see. Depends on the tree, I suppose. Yeah, I might have to get rid of a couple more. Or maybe... that one's kind of in the front. Let's go this one. And then we could just maybe get a nice tree. I don't know if I like... yeah, let's go with that one. That's a little bit nicer. Okay, there we go. And they should be plenty happy with their flowers. Their new and improved flowers. And I could probably even have a nice little flower bush or two in here. With another little tree. Kind of like that. But over here, I might as well have a nice big tree. Kind of like that. Just to tie it in a little bit better. And let's start decorating this side of town. So we'll need some lights. Definitely need some lights throughout here. Let's maybe get one. Maybe over here. Be kind of like that on either side. And maybe on the edge there. Actually, let's maybe get one over here instead. And I don't really like these like that. There we go. You can kind of see the town illuminated. Looking absolutely bomb. Looking cool. I like that a lot. I think this looks a little bit bare. So let's maybe get a couple little things throughout here. Maybe just a couple more trees to maybe fill it in. Maybe just like something. Just kind of fill it in a little bit more. I think I like that. And then over here I could probably have another little lamp. lantern there. And maybe there as well. Obviously, when you're carrying supplies from the back warehouse, you need to have lots of lighting. Otherwise, you'll trip and fall and break a toe. Okay, we have no more available housing, so I suppose we could figure that problem. Could we get a house in here, maybe? I might actually just get rid of a little bit of this path. Oh, we are on size 1 still. Let's go to size 3. I want as much room as I can for a house. And let's turn off the snap, because I think I'd probably want to keep this as close to here as we can. And then once we get to here, obviously that'll be somewhat fixed, but let's just get one right there. Now we can reconfigure our path. Let's go back to a size 4. Kind of like this, and then through out here. Just like so. Yeah, like that. And then let's maybe get a nice big tree in here. And then maybe as you go up here, let's maybe get like a medium trees. Kind of just as you're going up the hill. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, we have a couple of families that need to be put some places here. We have a couple of houses over here that we could put them. And let's kind of finish this general little area. Let's just add a worker there. And, I mean, what do we really need over here? I could probably put... Are we pretty close to our closest? Where's our warehouse? Right there. So it looks like we are supplying this. If I could, and if I needed to, I could get another warehouse over here. I think I could probably tuck one in. Maybe right over here. Maybe even up here might be a nice little spot. We have a house up here. We want to keep kind of everything away from here if we can. But I think if we put a warehouse just up here, I think that might be a good little spot. So let's get rid of a couple of trees. This one I might just move temporarily. And I think over here, let's get a large warehouse. I think that would look pretty cool. Right on top of the hill there. Let's just remove those just for now. Let's get a large warehouse. So we could snap it to our path here. And in fact, I think I like it right about there. Actually, let's get a little bit more creative if we can. Let's maybe put it right there. Hopefully this cliff doesn't fall anytime soon. And then I think we could probably put just a little path just to get up to there. Let's just put a nice little path for them. And let's maybe widen this a little bit more, just so they have a little bit more room. But I think that should be good. We can get a few workers on there now. And now we can supply all of this with just this one. And then we don't need as many workers over here. I think that should be a little bit more efficient for us. And we have a couple more families. We also have a lot of money that we could upgrade some houses. So if we're going to upgrade some houses, I think I'd like to maybe do... I think I already did all these. Let's just do all the ones over here that we can. And then I do believe we can start upgrading these. Let's just upgrade a few of those houses. And maybe even that one. I think that should be good. And in fact, I might actually move this one a little bit further away. I think they'd probably prefer to live pretty remotely. Maybe even way up here. That's a little excessive. Let's just put them kind of up here. And we can get them a nice little path going back to there. I think they should be nice and happy. They are nice and secluded, 20%. I think that should be great now. Get a nice little light on there as well. I think what I might do, you can kind of, and I didn't know this was a thing, if you just click on any old light, you can put it on the ground, or you can just hover it over your house and then put it there as well. You can also do that with flowers, which is kind of neat. You can put some flowers on like their windows like that. Like how nice is that? In fact, I'm going to throw them on there. Let's do a little bit of random flowers for these people. This is a cute little neighborhood, so we're definitely going to need some lights in here as well. A couple of lanterns maybe. I love those flowers on the windowsill. And in fact, I could probably even put some up here. Or is that too much? I think that's too much maybe. Let's get some flowers over here. And maybe a nice little light on the edge of there. Okay, that is looking quite nice. I think what I could do to switch it up here, let's just draw a nice little path. Maybe let's get a stone one in a size 3, and I'm just going to take this right to there. And then I'll get a nice size house, and we'll snap it to this road here. Just like that. And then as far as right in here, I could probably... Is this too much? I feel like it might be, but let's see if we put a nice little fence kind of coming up through here. I think that might look kind of nice. Let's go back a tiny bit. And I think just kind of leading up to about there might be good. Just to kind of separate a little bit more. I don't need to do this because we have our cliff face, but that kind of just makes this a little bit more intentional. And then I don't need to put any stonework here. I'm just going to get a nice little, maybe one of these entering through here, or maybe over here a little bit closer. I kind of like that. And this is kind of coming right off of their little residence here. Let's get a little road going up there. I don't want to put a fence around here, but I think I'd like to maybe put a hedge. And I think that could look a little bit nicer. Let's kind of angle it around here. Kind of just like that, and then up there. Right to about there. And then I can take this hedge, and in fact, let's maybe go to this side. And I will get this just going to about there. I think that's absolutely perfect. And then what I'd like to do, I could probably get a nice little well in here, a little community well, and perhaps even a nice little picnic bench in here, like that. And then honestly, I could probably do a little light as well. I feel like we will need some light. In fact, I don't know if I want to put it in there. Rather, I could probably put it maybe just kind of overhanging like this, facing our main street. That might be a little bit better. And then I don't know if I want any light along here. I suppose I could. Maybe a nice little lamppost there. And kind of just illuminate this path as you go up. Kind of like that. Now let's see if we can spread them out nicely. About right there. And I feel like, yeah, they're going to need some light kind of going up here. And then once you get to the top, maybe just one right there and one right there. And I might actually angle this one just a tiny bit more, so it fits in a little bit neater. Okay, I like that. And then it is quite bare up here, so I'm going to get a couple of trees for them. Maybe just kind of right out front. And then maybe just to hide it from the edge, I will get a few kind of just surrounding it. Maybe another one over here. I definitely like to replace the one that we had. I think I like that. And then we could probably just get maybe one more tree to kind of close this in. And then to have a little bit more light, I suppose I could maybe take a lamppost. And let's just get a nice little warehouse thing above there. And I suppose we can maybe spruce this up a little bit. Get a little bit of flowers. Doesn't need to look so warehousey. Okay, I like that. Okay, I really like the idea of having a warehouse over here. And it kind of spreads out all that. What do we want to do next? I mean, up here is pretty bare. And in fact, I could probably do something. Should I make this another farm? I mean, if they're going to live way up here, we might as well make it a farmer's residence. And then they could have a little guest home on their property too, actually, if they wanted. I'm going to delete this house. And hopefully, yeah, poor little sad house gone. Yeah, I'd like to maybe get a nice little farmer's residence. So I'll just put this kind of in the middle, maybe. Where do I want to go? Yeah, they could maybe come like right up here. I kind of like the idea of having it kind of tucked in like that. And then I'll get rid of this path. It's honestly so satisfying just getting rid of a path. And then I'll get a nice little dirt path for them. Let's speed this up. Oh, you know what I just realized? We can upgrade our town. Let's go ahead and do that before we continue on with our farmer's residence. We are now stage 3. So again, a nice little video. Great upgrade. Some more people come to town. Grab your farmer hats. Your straw teeth picks. And let's get to work here. I think the farmer or the train station's even a little bit different. I think it looks a little different than the city one. So, oh, we're actually stage 4. So we've now unlocked housewares and research level 4. So, well, that's all city. Okay. So it looks like we have quite a bit of stuff and we are maxed out anyway. So we could get some utility decorations. There's a little hand pump there. That's kind of cool. And a little hatter. Extra granary workers might be nice. Okay, I definitely like that. It looks like we'll need 800 to unlock tier 3. So that'll be nice. And we can get hat colors. That's actually so cool. I'd like to get that somewhere right away before we forget. Let's get a worker here. And if we're going to have a hatter, I suppose we could maybe have one. I mean, right here might be kind of nice. How big is this building? Yeah, it would fit perfectly right there. I don't think I necessarily need this house here, so I'm going to get rid of it. And I will have to build some more. Oh, it'll get rid of these though. Unless I put it facing this way. Yeah, let's do that. It can be in the corner. And then I can have the best of both worlds. That should be perfect. And we have a couple more people that want to move in here. So we might as well put them in their respective homes. A couple of workers added there. And it looks like that is now done. So we can get some hatters. Oh, okay. So we actually have some requirements for this. So we need roses, cotton, and honey to actually do something with that. Okay. So we're actually going to need, this is perfect timing to have this. So this I might actually get going kind of like this to our main road. And then I could probably even continue this around back going that way. And let's just straighten this. Okay. And now we need to decide how we want our farm to kind of look. So we could probably start with a nice fence. So, oh, we got a couple more decorations. Wooden roof. That's kind of cool. The roof up there. A water pump. We'll definitely need one of those. And in fact, I could probably even put our water pump maybe just kind of off to the side. Or maybe in the front a little bit. I don't know. Let's maybe put our little hand pump back here. And then I can take a nice road. and kind of get going like this. Just create a nice little hand pump station. And then that kind of helps us with our fences a little bit as well. Okay, let's take our wooden fence and let's start building this. Let's go a little bit further, getting used to the buttons still. Kind of just like this, and then we'll get going kind of just around this, as you see here. Kind of like that. And maybe just finish off kind of like that. Nice little hand pump water station. And I imagine pumping that is going to be quite taxing on your body. So we're going to need some shade as they are doing that. So we could probably get a tree there and maybe a different tree. Let's cycle through them. Maybe just like that. And then throughout here, I'll get a couple of nice little trees. I think that's quite nice. Little hand pump station. And now I can continue this on. Does that just automatically, it'd be kind of nice if it automatically followed that. I'm kind of just going to get going to there. And then I will need some crops like available in here. I think I'd like to maybe put a little, let's get rid of this. And then I will just get a nice entrance to there. I think that's a little bit nicer. And then I'll have to continue this on like so. Perfect. Now we have a nice entrance to our crops. And I will continue on even a little bit further. And we'll have to decide how far we want to go out. I think just like that might be plenty. And let's kind of just angle back in. And I suppose I could just get going right to there. And then use the natural cliff face as our, whatever you want to call it, as our fence. And then we'll just take a nice path kind of going through here and just get going straight out like that. And then put some crops on either side of that. Let's see what we need. So we need some beeswax. So I think, yeah, I want to keep our bees away from our hand pump if we can. So I think if we had some back here, a little bit of beeswax back there to keep the bees away. And I will need some roses. So this is going to be quite the beautiful little farm here. Let's take this and maybe just draw a little road like that. Actually, scrap that. Let's do a little bit of a bigger road. And it can be just straight through. Kind of just like that. And then what I could do, or maybe even a little bit bigger actually. Let's go a little bit bigger. And then I'm just gonna get, I mean, first and foremost, we could probably just get our, let's go on our farm. Let's get our cotton, maybe just right in here. So I'll have some cotton there, and then we can put some roses in here. So farmland is still doing pretty good. I'm just gonna get some little fences in here. So we could probably do a stone wall, a metal fence, a natural stone wall. I feel like that would be actually quite nice. And to start off, let's just get a nice little, actually, let's maybe do one of these instead. And I could probably put this off to the side, just like this. Or on the corner, actually, might be nice. Just like that. And I will take my little dirt road. Just kind of get going like that. And I'm going to take a hedge and go around this instead of a wooden path. Kind of get going up to there. Just like that. And it's kind of enclosed. I think that looks pretty good. And then I can get our respective roses in here. I mean, that's quite a lot. I'll probably have to reduce it a little bit. In fact, maybe just have a nice little road maybe coming through here. Kind of just like that. I think that should be fine. Got some nice roses on that side. Well, let's kind of see where we're at. So I think with our farm, what do we have available to us? We're gonna need some workers, or maybe empty. Oh, we don't have anybody here. We need somebody to live here. So let's add that family. And we should be able to see what we have. So we have 8 roses, 29 cotton, and a little bit of beeswax back there. So we are going to need some roses, and I could probably just do, maybe even match it on this side. Might be kind of nice. Let's grab our copy. And let's maybe do a nice different color. Maybe we can kind of do the same thing here. Just like that. I think that's perfect. Then I'm just going to add a little dirt path going through here. And then maybe keep the same little theme. And I will take this maybe up to here on either side like that. And then I will add our nice little... Now over here I might actually do a little fence just to kind of switch it up. Or I could do our hedges, but I think I'm going to go with a nice fence. We'll just get going right to there. And then maybe just curl around this way. Kind of just like that. And then obviously this is, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. A little bit of grass can peek through there. Never hurt anybody. Let's get a couple more roses in here. Maybe on this side as well. I think that looks quite nice. A little bit of overgrowing over here. I'm actually get rid of that. It says we have 17, so we should have enough now. Let's just get rid of that one. I think that looks quite nice. Okay, we have these crops up here. Are they... We might have to get another granary. We actually have a couple of families, so they want some shops nearby. Not a whole lot of shops there. There are some shops over here. And in fact, I might put a couple more little houses in here. Oh, an artisan residence. Okay, so we can get some artisans now. That's quite nice. Might as well get some of those throughout here. Just to have some people move in. And they want many folk, so there's many folk over there, so you can live there. Maybe a family there, and then these guys want to live near some shops. Okay, now we can get some more workers there. Okay, it says we have, oh, we need 20 of each. That is why. Okay, so we need a little bit more crops than we originally thought. So we need a little bit more roses and some more beeswax. So I suppose we could probably... We need to get something throughout here, so I could probably split them up. Let's maybe just get a little path kind of going like that. And I can have them on either side. I think that might be kind of nice. Okay, let's do that. Let's get some roses maybe over here, so they're a little bit further away from our little water pump station. Okay, that gives us 32. And then more beeswax in here as well. And that gets us to our limit. I think that should be enough. Let's kind of see now. Now we can enable that. That's perfect. Now our people can start wearing some hats, which is lovely. What else could we do? These guys want to live near a cliff. They'd be quite happy there. And then these guys still want to live... Oh, some houseware shops. Interesting. Okay, so we could get some houseware stuff. A clockmaker could be nice. In fact, this would be quite nice maybe on top of the hill like that. Would that be cool? I feel like it could be cool. Clockmaker up there. Or we could maybe have... maybe a clockmaker somewhere else. Where could we put them? Here's a little warehouse. I think a clockmaker could be kind of cool up here instead. So let's just bring this warehouse a little bit further up the hill if we can. Kind of like that for now. And then I'm just going to move this to here. I think I'm a little bit better of a location. And then I could get my clockmaker right in here. I think that would be quite a nice spot. In fact, I might have to get rid of some of these things. Let's see where we can put this. Maybe like right there. That's perfect. Nice little spot there. And then I suppose I could probably get a little tree behind it. And maybe a nice big tree on the edge of there. And we could probably fill this in with some nice little decorations. Might be kind of nice. Okay, big clock tower. Absolutely love that. And I think it looks quite nice next to our windmill here. And we are missing some laborers, so we need some artisan workers actually. So let's get a couple of people in these houses. And that gives us a few workers to be able to make some clocks. And then these guys still want to live close to a clockmaker. So I could upgrade these houses. I also need a little bit more warehouse workers. What I could do here is maybe get a couple of houses in here. What do I want to do? I could have a little sub road kind of coming off of here. Kind of just like that. And then maybe see if I can fit a house or two in here. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's go back to our house. No, that is not going to fit. So we need to scrap that idea, unfortunately. Let's quickly scrap that. Let's take a quick big look at our town. I could probably wrap around this. I mean, everybody knows that one house that builds a farm in the middle of a city to be, and then it just gets surrounded by a bunch of residential houses. That's what this house is going to be. Unfortunately, it just had to happen. Let's get maybe a size 4. And then we can take this all the way up and around here. And maybe just connect it back to there. I think that looks quite nice. Now, I don't know if I necessarily want to build some houses around this, but I think we should be okay. These guys want to live next to some trees, and then we could probably make that dream come true. Let's get some trees for them. Maybe a couple more trees like that, and then maybe one behind their house. Might make them a little bit happier. And they don't need to necessarily live in a forest, but I mean, I could just get a couple more trees for them. That takes them to 11, that's probably fine. And then yeah, these guys still want to live next to some houseware buildings. So I do have some money. I could upgrade I can't upgrade that. Well, what can I upgrade? Oh, upgrade 2 in Artisan Home. But I can still upgrade them. There, +5. Let's get that. And we have a couple of other little housewares. We got a carpenter, a smithy. These things would be nice to get, of course. We have some leisure. Maybe a nice little kiosk theater might be kind of nice. Maybe just right along the water, actually. Right there. That'll actually be a nice little spot for that. And then to keep that family happy, I could probably have them live right next to it. But I kind of want to keep this as open as we can. Let's just put these houses right near the water. And I'll move this over just a tiny bit more. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, let's get this drawn in here. And then I'll get a couple of these little roads. We can add some workers to that. Okay. That is lovely. Now, we can add a couple of families here. And then maybe draw in. This could be a nice little park area actually next to the water as well. So let's just get a nice little house on the other side of this. And then I imagine a nice little garden in their backyard like that. Might be quite nice. So let's just get them a nice little picnic bench in there to start. And maybe a little... Maybe just a nice little... Actually, I have an idea. Kind of just like... I don't know, maybe just like that? I think might be fine. And then I can take this and then just go right to the house. If possible. Get a nice little fence for them. And I will just take this and go right to there. That's actually so cool. I don't know if I necessarily want to get this along the water here. I suppose I could. Let's kind of just go like... Oh, that kind of ruins the view though. Let's just drag it to maybe here instead. Just they have a nice little view. I might have kind of changed my mind. Let's drag this back even further. And then I can kind of go around it like this. Maybe to like there. And then I'd like to maybe get a nice little one of these for this area. And then see if I can continue on. Just to there. That's kind of cool. I really like that. Let's just move this a little bit closer. Kind of like that. Somewhat like that. Oh, I think we need a little bit more space in here actually. I'm gonna move this up a tiny bit. I want a nice big yard here, so I'm just gonna redo this quickly. I'll demolish that. I still want that bench there, just for reference. And I think what I'd like to do is just have like... Let's maybe draw in our paths first. Let's get a nice little dirt road. Maybe just like a size 2. And I guess obviously let's connect this first. Connect that. And then I'd like to maybe get a nice little dirt road coming off of the side of this. Maybe like a size 2. Kind of like this. And these are going to be the richer houses. And maybe have this maybe just coming up right like that. And I'll just create a nice little area in here. I think that's quite nice. Okay, now I can get a little flower, one of these maybe, enter in like that. And then I don't necessarily need to have a fence. I think maybe a smaller one might look a little bit better than the bigger one that we had. Maybe just like that. I just kind of want to enclose it a little bit. She's already enjoying it. Look how nice that looks. That's a lot better. And then I suppose they don't need a light back here. I think they should be fine. I can't move that bench right now, but I think that looks a little bit better. And then maybe back through here. I could kind of continue this fence this way a little bit. I don't know. Let's maybe just leave that. Let's put that right there. I think that's fine. In here, I guess I could maybe... I haven't really messed around with our painting yet. We could do some like bright green grass or something. But it pretty much already is. Oh, don't tell me you're just going to walk through the fence. Oh, don't break my heart. Please go through here. Thank you. And I'm actually going to move this just over here. A little bit nicer. Okay, that is better. And then I could also get maybe a nice little sunshade for these guys. Maybe a nice little umbrella. Kind of nice. And maybe a light. No, I don't need a light. They don't need a light. Yeah, I'm happy with this house. I could probably put a little bit of flowers back here. Just for some decoration, or maybe like a nice big tree in their yard. And then maybe something like that. Just for a little bit of shade. And this is one of those rich houses that have those nice big columnar aspens. Kind of just like that. Oh, that is so nice. Kind of leading to their little backyard area. Okay, I like that. And then a nice big tree, maybe in their front yard like that. And I suppose we will need some sort of light. So let's just get them a little lantern and then obviously some flowers on their windowsill. And maybe even upgrade it actually while we're at it. Since it is a big, rich house. Okay, I love this little property. This one we could probably upgrade as well to something nice. I mean, it's right next to our little kiosk. Theater. Nobody's living here yet. Let's get some houses in there. Put a couple of families in there. How could we spruce this up? I mean, trees always does the trick. We get a nice tree in there. And maybe like another little tree like that. And could we decorate this at all? I don't know if we really could, but we could get maybe some flowers. Maybe some flower bushes. Right on the end like that. Keep them about the same color. I think that looks quite nice. And then if people would like to kind of come down here and look at some stuff, I suppose they could, or maybe even connect it to here. That seems like a nice idea, actually. Let's just take a little path, maybe a size 3, and lead this just along through here. Kind of like that. And actually I could even widen this a little bit more. Just like that. I think that's perfect. Nice little path going through there. Make it a little bit wider perhaps. Kind of like that. Okay, that's absolutely perfect. I love that now. It's a little bit more intentional. A couple little trees in there. Looks amazing. These guys want to live by trees, and that's plus 20%. Can add a couple of workers there. And we do have another family that would like to move in. Let's put them in our artisan houses. I feel like these are a little bit too far away. And in fact, I feel like these should be artisans' houses. Let's actually do that. Let's upgrade those to artisan houses. And now actually we can upgrade again. So let's upgrade our town again. Got our little clock up there, nice little lights. Boom, look at all the people. Look at this guy's mustache. I love that little mustache. Get your fancier straw hats, your fancier straw toothpicks. Now let's get back to work again. We gotta continue on with our farm. Stage 5. So we now have public service. So let's kind of check that out actually. We go to our public service tab. We have a school. We have a chapel. And I suppose we probably will need a school somewheres. And I suppose I can maybe come up here. What else could we do? These people are quite sad. They are gonna need definitely some public service. Let's maybe put a chapel somewhere. And this could actually look nice, maybe along the water. And these are quite rich houses. Oh man, I don't know where I'd like to get this. Let's maybe get a chapel. Maybe just leading up to this path might be kind of nice. Kind of along the water like that. I feel like I've seen that in a medieval movie at one point. And let's just take this and lead right up to our church doors. In fact, let's go to a size 5. Just like that. Okay. I really like that. Now we could do some research here. So let's do maybe our global stockpile, extra granary workers. We'll be able to upgrade that pretty soon. Global stockpile. This means that crops grow in Fontebranc, or Fontbrock, sorry. I learned how to say that today, or elsewhere. Can be access to power, commerce, buildings, wherever you are. Okay, cool. Let's get some workers on our church. There we go. I think that takes care of our whole town. Might need a church over here, but we shall see. Decorated walls and windows. Okay. We could definitely decorate this house. So let's do some flowers in the windowsills. Maybe some up there. We're gonna need a nice little light for them. In fact, I could probably put one maybe right there. How else could we decorate this? Let's maybe get a nice little bush for these guys. And a little flower garden maybe somewhere. I don't know. Let's do maybe some flowers up there as well. And then maybe some like right on the wall. Just like that. I feel like that will look nice. Okay, I think that should be nice and decorated. Are these people happy? I hope they're happy. They should be quite happy. We have our church. And we can get a couple more workers there. Which is lovely. We're making some hats. Do we have some hats? I feel people should be wearing some nice hats. I mean, I think that's hair. I don't see any hats yet. I'm sure we will soon. Let's probably... Oh right, we can put them there. We haven't done that yet. And then a couple other little families. Oh, we got no available houses. Okay, we could probably get some of those. I don't know what used to be here, but let's get rid of that. We got a nice little farm in here. What do I want to do? I could probably add in another little fence over here. I think that would be quite necessary. So let's just angle this kind of around like that to about there. And that's pretty much our max. We still have a little bit we could put down. We could produce a little bit more. We could maybe do some other little crops in here actually, if we wanted. In fact, I might want to leave a little section open here. Maybe just to like there. just for a nice little entrance, if we could. To our farm little facilities here. Now let's continue this on right to there. Okay, now we can get our dirt path. Let's maybe go like a size 2, and we can just have this go right up to there. Maybe have a tree or something in here. And then maybe throughout here, I guess let's continue our fence. Let's just take this to about there. Okay, let's do a little bit more research before we get too ahead of ourselves. So let's unlock tier 3. We have locked tier 3, so now researchable items available farm points cap increased to 1200. So that's quite nice. I love that it just like blurs everything out. Looks so nice. Oh wow. We got hops, potato, tomato, lettuce. Okay, so we gotta build a couple more farms here. Now we kind of need to decide. I was just about to finish this. I could leave it open for maybe some hops or something so we can have a brewery. I feel like that might be kind of nice. Let's continue this on, maybe just up through here and then just connect it back to there and back to there. And I'm just gonna angle this kind of back to there like that. Oh, I guess we'll need a little entrance for all of this, won't we? Yes, we will. So let's, it'd be nice if you could just take out like just this little section. You can add little things, kind of cool. I'm just gonna add a little gate in here. We already have one of these, so I guess I could maybe just do, well, we're a farmer and we probably need to have things that'll stand the test of time. Rather than just little flower gates. So let's just build one of these. And then I can extend this up to here. Oh, that's a little bit messed up. Instead, let's just kind of get a new one off of here. Right up to about there. And call it a day. Beautiful. Now, I could probably get some nice little dirt paths going through here. Maybe a nice little path going up there. Actually, let's maybe go back a little bit. Now let's go a little bit wider. Kind of just like that. And then maybe just to like there. I think that should be fine. Or I still don't really like this. You know, when you don't like something, you gotta just fix it quick. Let's just go out like that. That's a little bit better. Okay, we are 147. I think we should have some stuff. I think tomatoes might be kind of beautiful. Gotta get lettuce. Let's get lettuce. Just to start, I believe. Let's do that. And then we could probably even have a nice restaurant. Let's get some lettuce in here. Some nice little lettuces. And we still have a little bit of space available to us. So we're almost at 90. I could probably do hops, might be nice. Lettuce, let's do tomatoes because I think that would probably help with our restaurant if we have one. Let's do some tomatoes in here. We don't need a whole lot of tomatoes, just kind of like a nice little amount. Like so. And I kind of like that these are separate, like it's not fenced in or anything. Let's maybe get a nice tree in here. Just like that. And maybe another one of these. Just kind of wraps it up a little bit more. I'm kind of sad that you can't have a path go right up to your doorway. Like, how much cooler would that be? I don't know. What I might want to do is I'm going to quickly just delete these because I'd like to maybe have the hedge just so it looks a little bit more symmetrical. I think that would probably make a little bit more sense. Oh yeah, I actually can't do it with that. That is a big old fair enough. Let's grab our hedge here. And let's just get going around here. Right up to there and then kind of just get going all the way around like that. There, that looks a lot better. a lot more symmetrical. And then we have our wooden fences for actual little farmland. And we have quite a bit more research points here. So I guess we can maybe get like potato and hops. Do we want both? What do we have available to us? So a little bit of tomatoes, a little bit of lettuce. Honestly, we're gonna need, like for most of the stores I've seen, you need at least 20 for it to be useful. So I might as well just continue on with all of this and kind of do that. So let's just get a little path in here. Or is that a waste of space? I feel like that is kind of a waste of space. And I could also expand this a little bit. Let's see what we can add here. So let's get maybe hops. Let's continue on with some lettuce. Maybe up until about here. A little bit of lettuce in there. Okay, I like that. And we're almost maxed out, so let's just get some tomatoes on this side. Kind of like that. And yeah, we're pretty much at our max, so could we add a little bit more, maybe some on the outside, just to really max it out? Okay, there, perfect. That is a perfect little farm. And honestly, the amount of square meters it allows you is kind of perfect. Like, this is a nice size. So there we go. And we still don't have enough actually, so we'll probably even need another little farm in here. Absolutely love that. Lots of farmland up here. I need to continue on through here, but I also don't want it to go too far because then it's kind of just, I don't know, it might get a little bit awkward in here. But this is the main part of our city. Still don't have any houses available. I might quickly wrap up this little side of town. And in fact, I could probably even just do it right here. I feel like that would be absolutely perfect spot to wrap this up. And let's get this maybe right on the end there. And then I could get a couple of trees just to kind of fill in this whole area. Maybe a couple of those, maybe another one along here. I love these tall columnar trees as you're going up. In fact, let's put a few of them kind of going up here as well. And maybe a nice big tree at the top. Absolutely love that. Very, very, what do you call it? European? I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for. Let's upgrade a couple of these. Absolutely love this. Let's do a little bit of decorating here. We have some flowers on these. Let's get a little bit more. Let's make sure we are on randomize. Okay, there we go, even though it's the same one as that one. That is fine by me. And this will be a little shared. Or actually maybe one over there. And then if we can, I'd like to get a little light. Maybe like that. A couple little lanterns. And just to kind of switch it up, I'm going to get a couple of maybe like little rose flowers on the top there. Don't want one up there. We don't have tall enough ladders to get up there. I absolutely love that. This is a perfect way to kind of wrap up this little side. What else could we do? Something up here might be kind of nice. It'd be nice if you could put down stone. And in fact, you might be able to. I could get like a little fountain area up here maybe. Yeah, this is kind of all just farmland. And this has been useless since the day I got it, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And in fact, I think I'm going to get another little farmer residence kind of in here. If we can, let's maybe tuck this in. Maybe just like that. And then I'm going to get rid of this path. Absolutely perfect. Now let's go to maybe size 3 and see what we have here. So let's go here and then just go kind of to there. This will definitely be a smaller little town. I like these trees, but I can kind of put my own down in a little bit. I'm just going to get rid of all of this stuff because we're going to need some more farm space up here. So obviously I can keep this rock. And in fact, I might integrate it into our overall. Like I'll kind of just get it going up like this and integrate it into my fence and kind of just continue on throughout here. Then have a nice big fence kind of along here. And if we can kind of see this size, I feel like if we went all the way back here, it might be kind of neat. Kind of like that. And then what I'm imagining here is just like a nice little walking trail. Would that be kind of cool? To like, I don't know, like a little picnic bench all the way over here? Absolutely love that. Before we do that, let's kind of get this set up. So let's get maybe a nice big one like this. Kind of just like that. And then we can take a path and continue around. Let's continue this and go right to the side there. And then this, I'm just going to angle all the way around. If we had cows, this will be a nice little fence for them. Let's just kind of continue around here. Honestly, maybe right up to like there. And see how that kind of looks. And now let's kind of just get going just around to maybe like here. And then I'll need a place to enter in. So let's get that. I absolutely love this actually. This is quite cool. Let's get a little path maybe like here. But first let's get one of these little things. I could probably even have this like right there. Going to here. Actually, maybe a bigger one might be a little bit nicer. A little bit more grand. Kind of like that. Then we can take that right to there. And then take this and get going all the way around. Kind of like this, maybe. All the way to there. I think that should be nice. And now we can kind of decide where we want all of that to go. Obviously, let's take a nice bigger path. And in fact, I might actually take this all the way to here and just fill in all of this. And then I can take this maybe somewhere around our rock. And maybe kind of up here. And then go out and continue our little walking trail through here. This might get a little bit skinny. So I think I could maybe make this work. And obviously they can maybe go that way if they'd like. But let's just get going all the way through here. Out to this little area. I'm just going to draw this in just like this. Just a cute little place to put a bench or something. Just for this individual farmer to have. Oh, that is actually so cool. I could have something up here, but I think I like that. Let's get some plants in here. So let's maybe go to a size 2 and maybe just have a little path kind of going that way. And maybe just take one going that way as well. And I guess I could maybe just leave this the way it is. I'd kind of like some bigger spots for crops. Might be kind of nice. Yeah, I like that. And I'm going to get my crops in here first and foremost. So we're going to need a family to live here. Family added. Perfect. And then, actually before I forget, I kind of want a little tree right in the middle of here. I love my trees right in the middle of my driveways. Kind of just put that right there. That's absolutely perfect. Makes it look quite cozy. And then maybe a couple little flower bushes in here to spruce things up a little bit. There we go. Let's get our plants in here. What do we need? Over here we have quite a bit of stuff. I'm gonna need some more lettuce for sure. And in fact, we can go to here, I think. Okay, so total, we have lots of wheat. Probably too much wheat, actually. Where is our wheat farm? What the heck? I think it's over here. I think we have too much wheat, so honestly, I might kind of reconfigure this. We have 95. I'm gonna get some more roses. Or, got lots of corn. I could get some lettuce in here. Get a little bit of lettuce. Maybe just over here. I could put some lettuce. Just to kind of switch it up. I give this some more lettuce. A little bit more roses could be nice. And that limits our wheat. Okay, I think I'm fine with that. Because we are going to need quite a bit of wheat. Do we have any more houses available? Got a couple over here. This wants to be a single floor family. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Of course, I upgraded this house that needed to be a single family. Oh, I'm such a goof sometimes. Okay, let's add those in. Get a couple more workers. Nice and happy. They seem quite happy with that. So again, let's see what we need. So it looks like we're kind of missing... We got lots of grapes, lots of corn, all of that good stuff. Cotton. We're gonna need some more tomatoes. And we have enough lettuce now. Let's do a little bit of tomatoes in here. I think maybe up here might be nice. So let's paint in some tomatoes, or plant some tomatoes rather. Just like that. And they are so colorful, which I love. And then I do have hops. I think I'll definitely need quite a bit of hops if we're gonna have a brewery. So let's get some of these in here. Kind of just like that. We got our little rock there, which is nice. In fact, I might actually take a little path and just go to there. I can climb on the rock or something like that. I don't know. Might be cool. Okay, we got our 19 tomatoes. That should be good for our overall tomatoes. And what else? We got hops, potatoes we need. And now we can get a pub with our hops, a doghouse. Oh, we definitely want a doghouse. We can also upgrade to tier 4, but I think let's get a pub and a doghouse. Because we're going to have some hops here. Let's get some potatoes now. Some potatoes throughout here. These are quite colorful. I like the way those look. That gets us about 31 potatoes. And I don't know if there are any other ones that we can get. We could probably maybe do... Let's check this out. So what are we a little bit low of? Lettuce we're a little bit low of, actually. Which is interesting. Yeah, let's maybe get a little bit more lettuce. I think that might be a good thing to get. A little bit of lettuce in here. Okay. I absolutely love the look of the lettuce. And it looks like we're maxed out here now. Which is fine. I can kind of just paint this in now. Just to create a little bit more room in here. And maybe have a nice tree in the middle. Just to create a little bit of shade in here. Some decorations might be nice. We could probably have a little... Actually, maybe a little water pump right on the front yard would be kind of cool. We could do like a hay cart. And that'll get rid of quite a bit of stuff. Which I don't love. We have a... Is this our doghouse? Or a big shed? Ooh. Oh gosh, I'd like to put this somewhere if I could. Do we have any room for a big shed? Not really. I guess we can maybe put one like over here. Does it need an entrance? Let's maybe just put this, like, think of this as like an abandoned little shed next to here. Oh, that's so cool. And then let's get a nice little path, kind of just going to our main road. For that, and a couple of trees. Which ones do you want? Maybe some of these like that for a nice little shed. And then maybe kind of finish it off with a big tree there. That's quite gorgeous. I'm loving that. Let's increase some workers into there. And what else we want to do? Like we could do a scarecrow is what I'm looking for. Maybe a scarecrow right here. Maybe like one right there. And one over there. Might be kind of nice. Yeah, absolutely love the look of that. I'm going to put some maybe flowers over here. Let's put it on randomize. Just a little bit of flowers in here. Just to add some overall color. And I think in the middle I will put a nice big tree. Or maybe a smaller tree. Maybe a medium-sized tree if we can fit one. And in fact, let's just delete a couple of them until we can fit a tree. There, that's perfect. That looks quite nice. Now, throughout here, I don't know if I want to commit to this, but having like these trees all the way through, I think it's kind of cooler to have just a natural little cliff. But then back here, I could probably put a couple of different sized trees. Back here, I could have like a little flower garden for them. Maybe a nice little path leading back there. And then, of course, I could have a little picnic bench. Actually, this would be a good spot for a barn. We also have a doghouse way over here. Where could we put a doghouse? Maybe just kind of tucked back in here. And a nice little path for our doggo. There he is. You see him? I see him. Like a little German Shepherd, maybe. Mixed with something. I don't know. Kind of cool. They're gonna come use that maybe. Let's maybe increase our overall driveway here maybe. Now, I'd like to maybe move this now, I think. Let's just put this like right there. I like that. We got some good little things here. Let's finish this off. I think way over here, if we're gonna walk this in the dark, we might need some lights, but it's kind of, I don't know. Let's maybe have a green metal bench over here. Maybe one like under the tree there. Maybe one or like a little family picnic bench might be kind of nice. Actually, I'd like to maybe have my picnic bench under here. Let's move this kind of just like right there. Look how nice that looks. And what else could we get in here? We could maybe get some flower bushes. Maybe like a little bit of flowers. I don't like the red ones a whole lot, but I think that definitely adds something. A couple little flower bushes. And to finish it off, what I kind of imagined is just a nice little bench like that. And then I could probably do a cool little entrance for this. Maybe just like that. I love that. Look how cool that looks. Yeah, I don't want any lighting in here. This needs to all be natural. I absolutely love that. We could have like a little fountain in here. Might be a little bit too much. And maybe a nice little, I don't know. Maybe not. Stone basin. Let's get another little bench for these guys. Actually, let's leave it at that. I think that's quite nice. Maybe to tie it together, I'll just get a nice little flower bush there. Okay, I love that. That is super cool. And we have a couple of families that need to move in, but we don't have any available living space, which is a little bit sad. We got some lighting up here, which is nice. What else could we do? Yeah, we need to get a couple more houses and kind of finish this area to kind of wrap our town around. Might be kind of nice. Let's maybe figure out where we can get a couple more houses. I like these little artisan houses. I don't believe they are spread out enough though. So I might actually demolish them just for a quick second. We're gonna get some money back. Let's get a couple more workers there. I'd like to maybe spread these out a little bit more if we can. Like if we can kind of leave a nice distance in between, maybe whatever house is there. Let's get one there. And then I don't know what I want to do with this. I could have some houses right along here. I could also have another big little square in through here. We have a chapel here, and I feel like we need a little bit of church community. Let's get rid of some of these workers. Let's get a nice stone path in here. And I feel like this could like go all the way to here. And maybe even leave a little triangle in there, maybe a little bit more. And then you know me, put my nice tree in there. I feel like this also needs a little bit more TLC. Maybe a medium tree like that. Okay, I think I like that. We have our little church in here. And I might actually continue these on. Let's maybe get one right there. And then one leading up to there. And then if we can put these on nice little angles, maybe kind of like that, and then one right on the corner, kind of leading up to our church. And then to kind of tie this in a little bit better, we can get a couple of different sized trees. Something like that. It's kind of nice to have some grass for your kids to run around on and play. So I think that might be a good idea to kind of keep around. I still want to figure something out with this area. I guess I could maybe... like maybe a nice huge town square over here. But it doesn't need to be that big is the only issue. But we will definitely need some more houses available. So let's maybe take this... and maybe wrap this around. Let's go to a size 4. And I could probably wrap this around. Just come out right next to there and maybe cut that off. And then I could get some houses maybe around back here to about this area. Let's maybe do that and see what that looks like. We'll definitely need some more artisan houses. And let's leave a little bit of room in between them. Kind of just like that for now. Just kind of closes it in a little bit more. And I'd like to maybe get another tree or two in here. I don't know if I love that. It's kind of just like a steady, gradual decline. So let's actually just get a bigger house or bigger tree in there. And then the reason I left all of that space in is in case I could get these in here. I love these trees. Love to put them anywhere I can. I think that should be fine. And honestly, it might be nice to just leave this kind of open. I mean, I could get a school. We need a couple of things, actually. So granary, city hall. We don't really... a mayor's home we could put somewhere. School. Let's get a school in here. Where would we like to have a school? Maybe kind of back here, but that's quite far for everyone to travel. Let's maybe just have a school kind of... maybe right on the edge of here actually might be kind of nice. Just like that. I think that's quite nice actually. And then I could fill this in with a couple more houses. Some more of these. And in fact, we should probably have a little place for them to run around. So let's let them build this. And let's fill in a couple of families here. These people want to live next to a lot of other people. Let's increase a little bit of workers. Get somebody in our chapel. Okay, let's speed this up till this is done. And now we have this complete. Let's maybe go a size 3 and just get a nice straight path kind of going like that. This kind of reminds me of 3rd Street School and Disney's Recess. One of my favorite TV shows, by the way. I love that. Let's kind of continue on with these trees if we can. Kind of leading up. So let's get some of those. And maybe kind of like that. And I love the little school bell. Maybe one on that side as well. Okay, I love that. And in fact, I might actually increase the size of our path throughout here. Kind of just like that. And then I'd like to get, I mean, we already have our little schoolyard, so honestly, we could probably just leave that the way it is. Maybe just get a couple of trees throughout here to maybe kind of close this in. And in fact, I might try and get a little bit better variety. Let's randomize that. Let's get a couple more trees in here just to close this in a little bit. Something like that. Well, I gotta be honest, I hate that. Let's just get rid of that. Let's just leave this open if we can. And then we have some houses that we could put in here as well. And keep it very residential. Is what I'm kind of hoping. Now, I don't know if I can fit another house in here. Let's maybe do that. And then maybe some little building like a pub. Oh, a pub. A pub. We need a pub somewhere. Okay, I might actually demolish this house. And I think a pub might actually be quite nice in here. Just like that, honestly. Yeah, sure. Let's get a pub there. We have our hops. And we could get a restaurant. Housewares, public service. We got a school. We have a chapel. A couple other things. We could get a launderer. I guess we kind of already closed that off. I'm loving the way this looks. We'll get our pub kind of set up here. And then maybe here I will just get another big tree. And then continue on with these little trees throughout here. I am loving the way this is looking. I could probably get a couple of street lamps. Let's get as many workers as we can. And we actually need 75 hops. So, okay. The desire to live in a farmer's residence. Let's maybe actually kick these people out to one of these houses, and then a farmer can live right there. Might be a little bit better. And these people don't really live next to any water. Oh well, let's just put them there. Just to kind of add them in. Okay, we need some more hops. A little bit more hops. Could we cheat? Could we cheat? I mean, I know this is a vineyard, but I feel like hops are quite similar. Let's just get maybe over here to be hops. And now let's see if we have enough. Still not enough. What do we need? Hops, 74. Oh my gosh, we literally need one more. We need one more, so let's get one more. Okay, that should be enough. Bob should be our uncle. Let's enable that. And then we now have But that covers everything. Wow, that's actually quite impressive. We have our pub. I mean, these people have to walk quite a distance to get to it, but these guys want a houseware shop nearby. I guess we'll just kind of have to throw them in there. And these guys would prefer some flowers. Let's add a little bit of flowers to their house here. And in fact, I might do some nice decorating. If I can. I mean, they'd probably like to have some flowers everywhere. Maybe some lamps. Oh, accidentally screwed that up. Let's get rid of that. And let's actually do some decorating on all of our houses. So let's start out with some lamps. Maybe just along here for our artisan houses. And then we can kind of see where we'd like to get some actual street lamps. Let's add a couple of workers in there. Probably have a nice little entrance there. Maybe one there and one on the side there. Just so it really illuminates this. I think that'll be perfect. Add a couple more in here. Absolutely gorgeous game. Okay, that's awesome. I could probably put some flowers on some of these as well. Let's back up here. Let's put some little lamps on all of these. We're also probably going to need one right under there. Maybe on this side as well. So let's get some nice little lamps throughout here. Actually, hopefully you guys didn't hear. I think my fire alarm went off. It's just kind of a false alarm. I am okay, don't worry. I'm still making this video. It kind of went off, so hopefully it didn't wake any of you up. It's a little bit sad moment for me. I was really worried. And here I could probably get some lamps as well. Okay, I like that. And we already have some here. A little bit throughout here. I could probably get some little lights, maybe. Yeah, right under there is perfect. And maybe one there as well. And we have a couple of families that would prefer to move in. Okay, we can do these as well. And that just adds a lot of overall light to our town. There's also a couple over here that we can put in. I actually love this little nook here. I think it's quite cozy. Okay, there we go. Those have lamps. I think everywhere has lamps for the most part. And we have transformed our town from a measly little, not a measly, I guess. Not measly at all. Little farming town to a decent city, rather. I think it's quite a nice scale. Let's get some flowers throughout here now. Do a little bit more decorating. It looks like these houses already have some. Now let's make sure we're on randomize. Let's get some nice flowers for all of these. And I don't think all of them need to have flowers. Well, I mean, I'd rather have flowers on all of them because I think it would look better. And then throughout here, I could probably have some nice flowers somewhere. Maybe like up there. That'd be kind of nice. Maybe along our windows, just to make it nice and inviting. And then back here, I'll probably need a nice little lamp right there. I think that's perfect. And let's continue on with some nice flowers in here. This already has like a vineyard going all the way up around it. It's kind of cool. Maybe on either side of here I could put something like that. I don't know. It's a little something something. Now let's continue on with some of our flowers. Who else needs flowers? Could put a little bit of flowers maybe above there. Just to do a little bit of decorating. What else can you really do? I mean, let me know in the comments. I think I could get a water pump maybe. Maybe a water pump, maybe just like off to the side here or something, I don't know. Just pretend that it's coming right from our water source here. I feel like that'd be kind of nice. Get some flowers on these windowsills. We can now research a new item. This video is coming to an end. I don't think there will be a need for that. Absolutely love these. Let's get a couple more nice flowers in here. Then above here, I could probably put something. Maybe some flowers up there. I think that should be fine. Maybe get some flowers along there. Might be kind of nice. Can I put some on the clock? Maybe some way up here. That'd be kind of nice. And then these artisan houses will need some as well. Oh, we got a little bush there actually. Let's maybe leave that. We don't need a flower on everything. Oh, I love these little lanterns. Let's actually take a step back and look at this. Nicely illuminated throughout our entire town. Kind of leading up to our little warehouse here. That's quite nice. Oh, the music of this game. I can't quite get over that. Oh, you know what I realized? We probably need some light in here as well. You could probably get a nice light like there. Maybe right on the corner there. And then perhaps right on our house somewhere. Maybe just like right off to the side like that. And then if we're gonna decorate these, I could probably put some flowers kind of like that. Yeah, I definitely like that. A couple more lights throughout here. Put another little lantern up there. I could probably have a nice lamppost. Maybe just right on the end like that. Maybe one like that. And throughout here, I don't necessarily need one. We will need some flowers, however. Let's get some there. Maybe another little lamppost. Maybe kind of leading up this little path. Might be kind of nice. Maybe a couple of these. Kind of going up. Maybe one more actually. Probably get one more, maybe right there. For a little bit extra light. Maybe a tree or two. Maybe just like that. Let's put a couple more families in some of these houses. Kind of just like that. And we can also upgrade a lot of these. So let's just do as many as we can. I think that is pretty much the works. And these people are semi-near a restaurant. I mean, we have this. We got some hops. See, this is where you need your tomatoes, vegetables, and potatoes. That's actually quite nice. Okay, that is amazing. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are going to call this video here. I absolutely love this town. I enjoyed building it for you guys. And hopefully as I'm talking, you will see a nice little kind of montage of our entire town. Like, look at this. I mean, if I had enough time, I would have loved to go like all the way around here. Just picture a nice little island house here or something like that. But I think for the most part, we have done quite a good job here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully we will see you in the next video.